down in the dirt.
Right, folks, welcome back to Bru Time. This week we've got Mike Taylor, Yoda Goat. How you doing, pal?
I'm good. Good to be on.
Excellent. Oh, no, thank you very much for coming on, man. I've been meaning to get you on and have a chat with you for ages. We've been chatting through the old DMs and stuff on Insta, haven't we? So,
yeah.
Good to finally get you on and have a chat. Have you got a tipple of choice for the evening?
I do. And this is what we say is the best beer in the world. It's Trappiste Rochefort from Belgium. You tried it before?
Oh, yeah. Do you know, I think I might have.
You should have a glass, but I've just got a shitey old Stella glass, so there we go.
Right, that's crack on. I've gone up market, gone Peroni this evening.
Very nice.
All right, Slange, here's to your health.
Cheers, I need to pop my...
You've got to charge your glass.
Yeah.
Talk amongst yourselves, people. We'll be with you in a tick.
Check this.
Oh,
my old
like ASMR.
If you've got the wrong glass, my dad usually goes Raj, but there we go, in a Stella glass. This stuff's dynamite.
It's like it's made to measure. Right, here we are. Slange.
Cheers.
Right then, Mike. Yoda Goat. What's Yoda Goat all about?
The name, the handle Yoda Goat.
Yeah.
So years ago, when you're young and getting online, I used to have ZRX Goat because a ZRX was the bike I had. It was the bike I'd loved for years, big Kawasaki ZRX. And Goat was what we called each other as a group of friends. We were like, yeah, if you made an arse of yourself, we called each other a goat. So you slipped and fell, you goat. It's not greatest of all time or anything like that.
I thought you were calling each other Rossi.
No. So I was like, so Long Way Round came out. Bought my GS. I bought 1150 GS, and I was like, shit, what can I call myself? I've sold my ZRX, and I had a Yoda T-shirt sitting in a pile of laundry beside the computer. Oh, that'll do, Yoda Goat. And that's where I got the name from. And it's shite. I wish I'd got a better name, but it's stuck. So that's me.
When did you start YouTube then? I was going to say the YouTube. How old am I? When did you start YouTube?
When did we start the YouTube, son? I started YouTube like years and years ago, but it was nothing serious. So I used to just, like, if you look way back through my videos, you'll see it's just me and my mates mucking about. There'll be somebody doing a big, like, beer bong and various things from parties. And then there's, like, cycling videos. So I used to make little edits from being in push bikes.
Aye.
And a few motorbike stuff. But I never really started properly till maybe just during COVID. Maybe just before COVID. And then I thought, because at college, I studied audiovisual at college, so we did lots of filmmaking. And that's where I found that I really liked, like, I love making films, but only if it was my own films. If I was making somebody else's films, I didn't really care much for it. So I started doing my own stuff, and it sort of grew from there.
So whereabouts are you from? I'm trying to get that accent.
I'm East Lothian, Scotland, so southeast Scotland.
Southeast, right. I was thinking to myself, like, there's wee twangs of, obviously I'm from the northeast, like Banff and Buchan way. And I was like, it's not Aberdeen, but I was thinking, there's like an east to it, but I wasn't quite sure.
So I've got a lot of pals up in Caithness, in the real northeast. Right. So and my missus is from up there as well. So I've maybe sort of poached a wee bit of their lingo.
Got you. Yeah, I lived in Glasgow for a wee while, so you sort of pick up a wee twang here and there, don't you? So you still up there now? Then you still up Scotland?
I'm East Lothian. That's where I've lived my whole life. I love it here. Really, really good. Nice. So where we are, we're sort of right in the middle of the sort of county, and it's 10 minutes is the beach and 10 minutes is the hills. It's ideal.
Oh, nice. So where's your standard run out on the bike then? Where would you go?
Usually the borders. We head south, down the borders, down Dumfries and Galloway as well sometimes.
Aye.
That's where.
Some cracking roads down that neck of the woods.
There really is, and they're empty. And I need to watch, as people have been saying that'll give the game away. But either you head it there, and you'll see 50 bikes and 10 cars. It's proper good.
Aye. Yeah. Everyone said when we do our, I know you've got tour business as well. When we do our tours up there, like anyone that's never been to Scotland before is just like, Jesus, there's no traffic up here. Where is everybody?
I do a run called the Scottish Small Bore. So it's for folk on little bikes, like stuff usually under 250cc. Although we get lots of people coming along, like loads of older bikes and just people who just want to go for a poodle rather than hooring about with all the fast guys. And one of the boys that I know from down in Kent, he rode up and he was literally he was blown away. He couldn't believe like the roads round about St Mary's Loch, which I know you've done recently. So you know the Three Lochs run. Took them over that. Pardon me. And I was blown away. He was like, he couldn't believe it. He was like, fucking hell, I can't believe this.
Yeah, it's awesome, isn't it? Like you say to people, like, just like if you go further, you know, up in Caithness or Sutherland, I love Sutherland. There's just nothing up there. I love it. You go up there and it's proper like Lord of the Rings scenery, isn't it? Oh,
have you done any islands? Any like the Outer Hebrides and all that sort of stuff? Or
no, not on the
islands.
Not on the bike. I've only ever done Skye on the bike. Have I done? No, I've not done any of the other islands on the bike. I've done some of the other smaller islands in the southwest. Back in my rugby days, we used to go and play like Butte and all that sort of stuff. But no, I've never taken the bike.
You need to come. Come up here, and we'll do Mull. We can do a good few days, like Ardnamurchan, Mull, and it's a different world. It's brilliant, really, really good.
Ardnamurchan that's a proper experience. That run out to Ardnamurchan, isn't it? We do that on one of our tours, and like people are because it's about an hour and a half to get there, isn't it, from any sort of civilization?
I folk take the map and go, well, because we have a rally, a charity do in Strontian.
Oh,
so they look at the map and it's 30 mile, and they go, I'll do that. I'll come back. I'll do this. And I'm like, nah, you need to give yourself a good hour. And they're like, what? But it's a good part of the world.
Definitely. So go on then. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How'd you get into bikes? What started the YouTube and where you're at now? Nice and easy.
Right. Aye, nice easy one. So how did I get into bikes? So my whole family's been into bikes. My dad has had bikes since he was up like a bairn. My uncle, and growing up with that, you know, my dad was like, "Do you want a bike?" So he bought a Garelli 50, you know, a wee 50cc 2-stroke dirt bike, 5-speed box, full manual.
Yeah.
And it came in a bunch of boxes. So I helped him put that together, and with my two mates, Liam and Ben, and we were all 10-year-olds, and then we took it down the back of the house, and that was it. Rip a bit. So we're ripping out the woods, thinking we're brilliant. And that was like 10 or so, and then the prices of little Grelly 50s clearly went up. So my dad sold that bike, he sold it, and I got a TS125 off a boy up the road, and this had an electrical fault, it wouldn't run. A new suppressor cap, put that on it, £2. Off that went. So we took the headlight and stuff out, because this bike was in great nick. Took the headlight out it, and that was what I ripped about on that. That was a 125, so it was like a flying machine. So I had that till I was maybe 16, and I was getting quite into mountain biking, so I sold that, bought a push bike, which people will think I'm some sort of heathen. So I never had a motorbike again properly until I was 21. So I did direct access. Do you remember that? So I did my DAS, and I bought myself a CB500, and I was really into it. And the first thing I did was got my CB500, and it came with like panniers. So I had panniers on a top box. These things were fucking huge. It was like this couch on each side. These things are massive. So I jumped on that, and it set off. I had friends up in Wick, so I went up to my mate Drew's in Wick. So, and I remember riding up, thinking I was like, you know, it was a proper adventure. I was getting up there, and like it was very ill prepared. I had my jeans on, had a set of cat boots, and a leather jacket we got at the motorbike show, and that was sort of all my biking kit.
Yeah.
And ripped up. And I remember getting there, and my arse was absolutely killing me. I did like my first 300-mile day, and what it was, I still had my work pass in my back pocket.
Oh, she'd been sat on that.
There was a 20 pence piece, and I was like, "Fuck, my arse is killing me." And I actually showed me what it drew. I was like, "Is there a mark of arse?" And you can see the imprint of the 20 pence piece on my arse cheek. So that was my first big trip on bikes. So then sold that, bought the ZRX, sold the ZRX, bought the GS 1150, and then started.
You've never looked back since?
Yeah, not big trips, but it was all like the Alps and stuff like that. It was really good.
Aye. I remember, like, me and my mates, we all sort of started. We passed our test. There was about, I think, 3-4 of us all passed within about 6 months of each other. And exactly what you just said there. You know, when you first start doing trips on the bike, you're just all full of piss and vinegar, aren't you? And off you go. And I remember we did this run. One of the lads, his mum and dad lived down in Cornwall, right way down on the coast near Newquay, I think it was. But this was like late November. So we all headed off on sports bikes, leathers. Right. None of us had any waterproofs. And we just, like a fleece to keep yourself warm. And we just headed off. And it rained. Then it like really got cold and we started icing up. And then it snowed on us. And you just keep going, don't you? You're just like, yeah, this is awesome. Let's just do it. We had like mild hypothermia by the time we got there.
I remember when I got the ZRX, by that point we were all, like me and my sort of group of mates, I mean, obviously we can say this now because everybody survived, but we rode like absolute complete arseholes, like absolute bellends. So I was 22, I was on a ZRX 1100 and we would ride it. I mean, I would, everybody, all of us, you'd see your mates, pyong, oh, there's such and such, cruising along at 120. Everywhere you went, everybody was sitting at 120 mile an hour. Yeah. And there was like, I had my ZRX, my mate had a Firestorm, my other mates had like 600cc things, but we were all ripping around like absolute lunatics. Yeah. You know, like not in good heroic ways either, riding like total dicks, like splitting up the wrong side of cars when you're overtaken and like and just when I got the GS, everyone was like, "Oh, you bought a GS, you fucking wanker! What you bought that for? You're slow as hell." And within 2 years, everybody was on a GS.
It's always the same, man. It's always the same.
Like, I remember going along, and all this the fast guys. As soon as we hit some bumps, it was an 1150 GS. It just floated over them, and I was like, "Look at this!" So giving people a shot. And it was either if they didn't have GSs, they had big KTM adventures.
That's it. I understand, like the big adventure bikes, they're not everybody's cup of tea. 100% get that. But it's when people turn around, some people still have this attitude towards adventure bikes. Oh, it's all boys' bikes and they're slow as hell. You're like, just ride. Pick any adventure bike, even from an 8 or 900cc. Just get on the thing and ride it. You'll be quicker than your sports bikes on normal roads, normal riding.
I ride an Africa Twin, so a CRF 1000. That's my sort of touring bike now, my big bike for me. Now that is not a powerful, but it's 95 horsepower or something. It's not quick at all, and you can skin, especially when you're on the roads up north and that. You can skin most people with it if you if you're willing to chuck it about a bit.
And it's one of the most engaging. I would put that right up there as one of the most engaging big adventure bikes. The Africa Twin. Beautiful engine.
Then you take the 1250 GS, and that's a weapon. You can. So I've not had a 1250, but my old man had one, and I very nearly bought it off him. He's just swapped it for the fucking most ugliest bike I've ever seen. He's bought a 1300 GS. Honestly, fucking God, it looks like a fridge. I'm like, what's this? It's got it's like a Duplo fridge with wheels on it. I mean, I mean,
I love it.
I've only ridden it round the block, and it's, don't get me wrong, very nimble, very.
Yeah.
I was like, well, clearly it's going to work. It's a Beamer, but fucking hell, it is a modern art masterpiece. It is not. It is not a funny bike.
Absolutely. I hated it at the launch. I wasn't that keen on the standard GS when I saw that, on the screen when they launched it.
Yeah,
but I've grown to actually love that. And I saw the GSA when it's launched, and I thought, oh my God, they've killed the brand. I thought they have killed the GS now single-handedly. What have they done? Within about a month, 6 weeks, there was a picture I saw, I think on Instagram, and it was, I can't remember what colour, it might have been the red, but it was a certain angle, and I went, oh, I don't mind that. That looks all right. And then they started turning up at the dealership, and I was seeing them in the flesh. I think I saw the triple black one in the flesh. I was like, shit, yeah, I like that.
Okay,
no.
Look here. I'll send these down to you because you need these more than me, right? Yeah.
Mate, don't. I was at the opticians when I just had this incident, with I left my lock on my bike and tried to ride away with it. I'd just been to the opticians.
I've done that as well. I see people giving you stick, but I've on my CB5, my first bike when I was young. I remember riding away from a cafe and I was dunk because I used to put a D-lock through the back end, and I was like dunk. I was like, oh shit, and sure enough, it was a twin shock bike, so it caught one of the shocks. I was like, I got away with that, thankfully. So I took the lock off, chucked it on the back, and set off. And I went round a corner, and the back of the bike squatted down, and it didn't come back up again. The shock was bent, so it was sort of locked in place. Like,
no.
So I had to sort of kick the swing arm back down and buy some Hagen shocks.
Well, mate, I got the bill through, or the estimate through last night for this. Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what I saw. The visible damage I saw. Right. So it was a light lock core I put through the front wheel, and I literally did probably, I would say, half to 3/4 of a revolution before it lodged in the back of the forks. So when I saw it, it bent at least one of the spokes. It looked to me like it had knackered at least the banjo head, of the brake line connecting to the caliper. That looked very loose, and it was pushing brake fluid everywhere. And I wasn't sure if the caliper was knackered or not. I rode it home, but by the time I got home, I've almost no brakes. So anyway, I was thinking to myself, right, okay, they're going to have to respoke it. Possibly, certainly maybe new brake line, maybe a new caliper, 2 calipers, and obviously brake fluid, all that sort of stuff. How much?
Are they respoking it, or are they making you buy a new wheel?
Well, you tell me, right? So,
okay,
what do you think the bill's going to be from BMW?
From BMW, I would say 1,700 quid.
This podcast is once again supported by Conqueror's Motorcycle Apparel. Now, they are a biker's clothing shop built by bikers, run by bikers, for people who actually ride. No corporate nonsense, no guessing games, just riders who know their kit inside and out. Walk through the door or jump online and you'll get nothing but 5-star service. The kind where someone actually listens, knows the gear, and won't flog you rubbish just to make a sale. For an independent shop, the range punches well above its weight. Helmets, riding gear, casual wear, and the bits you didn't know you needed until a proper biker pointed them out. And if you're shopping online, here's the kicker. Use Fisters10. Yep, Fisters10 at checkout for a 10% off. Because good gear should come with a bit of respect. Conqueror's Motorcycle Apparel, built by bikers, backing bikers.
Is that...
They did me a deal, or they're doing me a deal, and I've been quoted just over 2,300 quid.
Fuck,
they don't respoke, they just replace the wheel.
Yeah.
It needs a new tyre because the brake fluid is knackered the rubber, apparently, or it's all over the tyre. The forks, they were going to replace the forks, but then when they looked, they said it's just cosmetic damage. It's just a little mark that I might actually be able to clean that out. Same with the caliper.
Forks.
Yeah, they were going to, but no. So yeah, I'm looking at over $2,000. I had a wee chat with him today because my logic then was, well, if I'm going to spend that, I can put $3,000 down and get a new bike. And mine's coming up to the point at 50,000 miles, it needs a new new drive shaft, which you have to pay for with the 1300s. You don't on the 1250s and anything below that, but on the 13s, you're liable for it. So it's going to need that at 50,000. It's at 36,000 as it is. And I just thought, well, I may as well just put $3,000 down and buy a new bike. So they were doing all the figures for me today, but it's still working out too expensive. So I was like, right, okay, I'm just going to have to swallow it.
Do what you need to do. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of a plug. Phone my mate Chiz at Motorrad Central for real, and say this. Just tell him that, and just say, look, do me a deal to see if he will, because they did. I think they've got higher bikes as well, so they might have something really very low miles on it that's been well maintained.
I'm a bit snob. I like virgin bikes. I don't like.
I know what you mean.
It's got to be a virgin bike, and I've got my eye on the one that I want. I know the spec that I want, and there's not one of them available in the UK at the moment. It would have to be specifically like ordered and made. So I just think the stars aren't aligning. It's not meant to happen. So
you're a big fan of all the tech.
Do you know what I am actually? Well, not all of it, most of it. Because I used to think it was a load of bollocks and you didn't need it. But I tell you what, getting back on my Jigsaw, I've got the J6R 1000 there, and it's got nothing. You know, it's got a slipper clutch. That's it. It hasn't even got ABS, no traction, none of that. You jump back on that, and you need to know what you're doing. You know, you need to be careful with your throttle and everything. With these big modern bikes, you can snatch on and off the throttle, no problem. You can be right cocky with the brakes. The bikes just deal with it.
See, I was really having two minds, but I'm not. I mean, I think it's getting to the point now where things are getting diluted. Like, I was speaking to a guy who had an auto blipper. He said, auto blipper's amazing. You need to try the auto blipper. And I'm like, but you can just learn to do it yourself. If you learn to do it, it's part of riding. And then you can ride, you can ride anything. You've got an auto blipper built into your body. It's great. Everything you've got after that's got an auto blipper. And he was like, and he didn't understand what I meant. He couldn't see it. And I used to have this old Harley. And I was like, if you take the old Harley, if you don't match your engine and wheel speeds while you're going down the box, you'll lock the back end up. It's a big torquey thing. You need to learn. You need to have these skills. And I think, don't get me wrong, having things like ABS, traction control, are brilliant things to have. They're great. And having things as options, like your quick shifters and auto blippers and whatever other things people want. But now with the DCTs and Honda's e-clutch, you're just like, these days BMW M cars are automatic. How is that the ultimate driving machine?
Yeah, I know.
I know. Two pedals and a steering wheel. It's a fucking go-kart. That's not an ultimate driving machine. And I wouldn't like to see bikes go in the same way, but which they inevitably will. And I'm becoming an old man.
Well, this is the reason. This is why they're going that way. I had this chat, the podcast that comes out tomorrow with Luke Brackenbury. He's used to be a journal with performance bikes and bike, and now he's in the PR world now. And this came up, this topic about all the gadgets and everything that are on bikes. And he was saying, the industry has to adapt because the customer base is getting older. It's now pushing into the 70s and 80s. A lot of their customer base, towards the higher end of it. And people are getting to the stage where they don't want to be buying 230, 250 kilogram massive adventure bikes or just big bikes. They're too much for them. So, they're wanting smaller bikes, or if they're going for the bigger bikes, they're losing. They like the option of not having to use the clutch or not having to use the gear selector, all this sort of stuff. So I get that, but I'm with you. I am 100% with you. I will go manual all day long, given the option. But I understand why this tech is all creeping in now. It's just inevitable.
I think it's good. It's good, and it's got a place, especially when you see like somebody maybe with a disability or something wrong with their, and they can ride a bike. You're like, that's amazing. That is the best thing. It's like I can now ride a bike because I've got a DCT. Brilliant. That's ace. But it should always be an option. I think everything like it should be an option on bikes. Like when I bought my Africa Twin, I bought it brand new in 2016. It was one of the first ones. So it's got like 3-stage traction control, which is pretty basic, and it's got ABS and it's got a slipper clutch. And then the sort of basic one these days is thousands of pounds more, and it's not. It doesn't seem to be in line with inflation or all that sort of stuff. But it's got so much more stuff built into it. You've got your Apple CarPlay and all this stuff. I mean, you look at the dashboard, you're just like, look, just give me a gear indicator and my speedo and rev counter. Surely they can do an option for that and just say that one's $1,000 less. And if nobody buys it, they can just reprogram the screen.
I think for the BMWs themselves, they have a basic budget GS, if you like. Nobody buys that. Let me rephrase that. There are very, very few people out there who buy it. So they're just like, well, if there's no market, why cater towards it?
So the 1250 that I nearly bought, that was one of the very last ones that came with a key. So they were keyless. And it was spec'd. It was really, really basic. I think the only thing it had was heated grips, and it was something like a 4-month wait to get it because, like you say, everything pumps out with full spec because it tends to be for the PCP market.
Yeah,
people buy PCP and then trade it back in and get another full spec one, and it's the difference.
That's exactly what I do.
Yeah, and the difference per month, nothing. For the top spec to the bottom specs, fuck all. So it is a bit of a no-brainer, I guess.
That was part of the issue actually today when they were trying to find a new bike for me. Like one that's in the country of the spec that I wanted, and the closest they could get, they all had this ride height assist thing.
Yeah.
Where the bike lowers and raises, and I was like, I'm not interested. I don't need it. I'm 6'3". I don't need that. And everyone I know that has one has had issues with it, so I'm like, I don't want that. I don't need it.
What issues have they had?
Just the electrical gremlins initially. Yeah. The 1300 has had lots of just run of the mill. It's a new machine. They've had issues. They've had software issues and technical issues. They just have to. An update comes through and it has to be updated.
So how does it work? So I've got a sort of rough understanding of suspension. Are they basically just ripping all the dampen and all the preload off it to drop it down at low speeds, or?
You're asking the wrong man, Mike. As far as my technical knowledge is, turnkey, push button, bike goes vroom. There we go. That's
fair news.
That's it. Magic happens. Bike goes fast. That's it.
See, I mean, like I was saying, I get a real slagging from some people for not embracing the tech, and they're like, "How can you make videos on YouTube if you hate tech?" And I'm like, I don't hate tech. I just like a more basic bike. I mean, I like televisions and electricity and stuff, mobile phones.
This episode is supported by Super Shield Auto. Super Shield Automotive provide the very best service in detailing, paint correction and ceramic coating of your pride and joy. They can also supply and fit products from many suppliers such as Chiggy, Akropovich, Hex, Denali, Visor and many more. Get in touch for details and don't forget to mention TeapotOne for a discount. That's supershieldauto.co.uk. If you love being around bikes and cars, then they are looking for someone to join them full time. Full training's given and a van is provided. Get in touch at info@supershieldauto.co.uk for more details.
Yeah, I'm the same. I always say I'm not a bike review channel. I'm not a journal. Like I like tech, but the tech I like is, cameras,
Yeah,
drones, the mics, all that sort of editing. That's the stuff I like. The bike, I don't care what it is. I'll jump on it and ride it. It's how it makes me feel. I'm not interested in why it does that or like how mechanically it does that. It makes me smile. I enjoy it. It takes me places. Fantastic.
I find
That's what I
myself,
like about bikes.
the older I get, the less I'm even looking at new bikes, because it's a money thing for a start. I can't afford 25 grand or whatever a new bike, but then also you're looking at. So I'm lucky to have a few bikes. I've got, I think, 6 at the moment, and my one. They're not all big bikes. I mean, I've got like a Honda 90, and I've got a Honda Monkey bike, and
Brilliant.
in winter, rather than ride so up here we get absolutely hammered with salt. As soon as it gets to a frosty night, the road salt goes down, and it just absolutely destroys the bikes. And it's not like a little bit of road salt. If you ride your Africa Twin up to Glen Shee and back, the downpipes are crusted white with salt. There's shitloads. So I've always bought, for the past few years, bought a winter bike, and you buy a bike in November for a few £100, ride it through winter, fix it up, and sell it again in summer or the next summer or whatever. And I've made money so far. So I've got an F650, the big single 650 BMW. I've got one of them. And it's got 50,000 miles on the clock, and it's got a knackered rear shock. And I'm like you, I'm 6'4", 110 kilos, so I look like a right idiot sitting on this thing. But it's been great. It's been absolutely amazing. Like, it handles well, and it's not fast, but it's got enough go. It's faster than the monkey bike. And it's been amazing riding that through winter time and going to be camping in winter and stuff. It's been great.
I've said this so many times now. The small CC bikes, bar a couple of exceptions in the bigger bikes, it's the small CC bikes, like the 125s. They are what have given me the biggest enjoyment factor in biking so far. Well, I did this Big Little Adventure thing with Official Mr. Fish and Richie Vida, Dickie Vegas, where we both, all three of us, got 125s, and me and Fish rode from down here in the south up to Dickie Vegas up in the Peak District. Yeah. Did a bit of a route round there with him. We even went green laning on these things, and then Fish and I went back home via Wales. So we ended up doing like 1,000 odd miles in about, I think, 4 days, something like that. And we did not stop grinning and screaming like a little girl from the second we headed off to the second I got home. It was so much fun. Almost to the point where I thought I might have to get one. I might have to buy a little 125.
So I think, especially if you're with a group of other people on sort of little bikes, that can be great fun. Like, I don't know if you want to look at some of my videos, I've got a 4-part series touring around Scotland on my C90. So there was me on my Honda 90, my mate Bob, who lives up in Leibster in Caithness. He was on an old C100 with like a bigger engine in it, and there was Mikey on his SR125 and Jenny on her SR125, and my mate Fergus came and met me as well. And my dad was there in big bikes and stuff, but it was mostly the 4 of us on these wee bikes, and it was such a good crack. Like, it was great fun, and we had amazing weather. It was just a brilliant trip. And we've done quite a few of those. Like, we did, the first one was we had Cubs to Colonsay. So years ago, we were looking at places to go, and we've done most of the islands. So rewind back even further. Every year we used to go away. We had a bike gang, so it wasn't really a gang, just a bunch of us mucking about, and we called ourselves the Winton Massive. So the Winton Massive would have our annual trip. Then you go wherever, and we were sort of running into places. So we thought, Colonsay, we'll go there. And Colonsay is a tiny island. There's hardly any roads on it at all. It's like it's 8 miles long by 2 miles across. So
where's that? Where's Colonsay? Where's that near?
So you've got Mull sort of sits like that, and you've got Colin Tyree, and then Colonsay's just over here, and Judah's here. So Colonsay's it sits right out. So we went to Colonsay, and the plan was to do Colonsay and Isla, but the ferry broke down, so we couldn't get to Isla. And we were in Colonsay for 3 days, and we really, really enjoyed it. And while we were there, we said we should go here on the Honda Cubs. At the time,
the camera's gone. Hang on, folks, technical issue.
There we go. Right, I'll have to just do that.
You might need to tilt it down a wee smidge. There we go.
How's that?
Yep.
There we go.
Back in the room. Back in the room.
Back in the room, and I kicked my beer over.
Oh no! Do you need to recharge yourself?
I've got a backup.
Is that a bottle of whiskey?
No, it's Innocent Gun.
All right, thought it was a bottle of grouse or something.
I'll make a bottle of whiskey while sitting here. Jesus. Right, there we go. Sorry about that, everybody. My camera shit its pants.
Taking no large, yeah?
That's why I hate tech. No, I don't.
I tell you what I've gone for. About a month, 6 weeks ago, I bought the Insta360 Link 2 Pro webcam. That's what this is here, and it's awesome quality. I'll do a lot of my tutorial office-based filming. I'll do with that now. It's brilliant. It's really, really good.
What are you using for helmet mic?
I've just started using the DJI Mic 3 now to the Action 5. I'm the
same. That's what I use.
Yeah, I'm just sick of losing audio. You know, when you hardwire the mic in, as soon as you hardwire that to any camera, the integrity of it range is just gone, and eventually the rain gets in.
I could never get away from everything I did. I tried all your the tricks with the sort of the silicone earplugs and everything to stop the popping, and I could never get past the. Oh, it must have been. So I've always used a flip helmet, so I think that was a big part of it, and I nearly had it. So I was using a Sena mic. I think it was a Sena mic, which was a mono mic, but it had a 2.5mm jack. So I needed to have 2.5mm to 3.5mm jack to plug into the GoPro audio block thing, which then would plug into the helmet. I was like, fucking hell. So I had, it was like I had a shoebox in the side of my head.
Aye.
And then I got the DJI, and I was like, what a difference. And all I've got is I've still used the flip helmet, but I've got a little magnetic thing stuck to the inside of the helmet, and I just plop it in there.
That's what I do now. Yeah,
it's so easy.
I just need to figure out. I don't think the sound's as good as a lav mic. Well, I know it's not. I've done some comparison stuff, but it's near as damn it. You can get away with it. And the Mic 3's got that auto gain in it, which is a game changer. That's brilliant. Yeah. But because I record my comms chat as well, and I think I've got a way of doing it now wirelessly, but I'm doing something tomorrow, so I'm gonna give it a whirl tomorrow and see how we get on.
I've never used comms on a bike. Past, I don't know if you remember this. So when I used to go touring with the missus, we used to have this little box that we borrowed, and it was like a little box, like a personal stereo, and we'd have wired headsets that would go into it, and that's how we spoke to each other. And before that, it was like this thing I brought from Aldi for like £7, which hooked. There's a thing that hooks around your ear, and it was like walkie-talkies, and it was great until you tried to take your helmet off, and it was like Reservoir Dogs. Fucking hell, it's so sore. But I really need to. I think I need to get some comms. I think eventually.
The comms are great, like for my tours, they're really good. When you have a group of people that want to chat and the crack's great, the comms are awesome. And I think they can really add to your vid. as well sometimes, because it's just something different, and
Yeah.
you know, the crack can really go down well. Sometimes people don't talk. They're not in the mood to talk. It might be really crappy weather conditions, or they're just concentrating on riding. So there's not much chat going on the comms. And other times people are just talking utter shite a lot of the time, you know, and you just want to turn it off. So it's a devil's advocate, really, isn't it? Is that the right word?
Opinion. I think I'd have it for right. I'm not sure about bike to bike as yet. The last time I was ride along, listen to your mate singing all the time. But I definitely rider to pillion would be pretty good.
Yeah. The ability to just switch the comms off is awesome. It's a godsend. You know, like when I finish my tours, it's awesome. I love everyone to bits that comes away. But when you finish a tour and you can just turn the comms off, or just put some music on and just chill in your own headspace again, you're like, it's nice that sometimes, just chill out.
So I mean, I do tours as well, but it's not. I don't do tours like your tours. So mine's isn't really even a business as such. I wanted a way to figure out how.
All right, Mike. I'm not a tax man. Don't worry about it. I'm not a tax man.
It's just rested in my account. That money's just rested in my account. That I just what it does is I was always looking for a way to try and let people experience the things that I love the most about doing bike trips.
Aye.
And I didn't want to charge a fortune. I wanted to make it accessible for everybody. But equally with that, I think comes the power. So if I'm easily the cheapest tours going, I can also say, sorry mate, you're a dick. You know, and you can, because I mean, you must have had it when I was doing like tours for everybody. I was just doing one night trips, so I would do one night in Applecross, for example, and I would charge XYZ, and for that they would get the route up, the route back. They would get a night's accommodation somewhere and a 3-course meal in the Applecross Inn. That's what they got, and I would charge someone like £100. Mm-hmm. So that would be £100 per person, and off we'd go. But there was 100% crash rate. Every tour had a crash. And I was like, sometimes it was just a little wobble and a drop or whatever, but it was pretty stressful. And then you had some of the guys were like needy as anything. Like you'd have all people from all walks of life, people that were happy doing their own thing, and then hyper aggressive wee guys like walking around like they were carrying their pigs to market, riding like ZX10s, balls to the walls, and you're like, mate, you need to calm your beans a bit. You're going to get killed.
Yeah. Like we're lucky in that, you know, we pretty much lay it out there right at the very start. Especially now, obviously, we had a fatality a couple of years ago, so we do like a full safety briefing at the start. People have a booking form that they have to sign to say that they're not going to ride like a dick, you know, and we run basically one warning, and then if you don't adhere to the warning, you're out, you're on your own. You've got the route, you've got all the details, you know, we'll see you at the hotel, but you're not riding with a group. And we've not had to do that yet, but you've got to be stringent on this sort of stuff, because at the end of the day, you know, sadly, as we've seen it just takes one lapse of concentration or just bad judgment, and it can be fatal. So
the guys that so I've known the guys through Motorrad for a while. They've supported the rally we do is the Sunart Wildcat Rally. Motorrad also has a company called Motojo that run out there. And Motojo is the people that sort of support the rally. They do bike tours, bike hire and stuff. And they had a tour. The guy that runs their tour, and it was I think the people were from South America somewhere, and they were involved in through their own stupid riding. The guy had warned them several times, like you need to ride on the correct side of the road, blah 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 blah, and they didn't pay attention. Head-on crash, and he said it was a fucking horror show, an absolute horror show. So he was running along, a woman's head was basically on her chest. She's gone, legs missing and everything. All people were fucked up, and obviously a big police inquiry. It was really stressful for him.
Mm-hmm.
And the other people on the party just wanted to carry on. Yeah, let's go.
Mm.
Let's go buy some souvenirs and stuff. And it's like, fuck, So so I stopped doing tours basically and just started doing the rally and little day runs. But now I'm doing another one now. In September, I've got a tour coming up, which is
it's a big responsibility, man. And I think a lot of people see it as, oh, you're living the dream, and in a lot of ways you are.
Jesus, it's no fucking way. It's like you're working from the moment you wake up till the moment you can't have a shit in peace. You literally can't have a shit in peace.
Yeah, but I've got to admit, I don't enjoy. No, I'm not saying I enjoy company when I'm having a poo, but the tours are what I would be doing anyway. When I go away riding with my mates, I was the one that I took on the responsibility of organising everything. I'm a control freak. I know I am. So
I'm the same.
It's in my nature to want to do that. And now I've got Simon Weir. Si and I go 50-50 with the business now. And he's fantastic for
Simon Weir. I've followed. I've read his stuff for years. When I was a little boy, I think he was writing in, was it maybe Bike Magazine or?
Oh, you'll love that. Sorry, Sam.
Honestly, Dan Walsh. So I did a bit of writing as well. So I used to write a few articles for Adventure Bike Rider.
Oh, right.
So before YouTube, I had a blog, and I used to write quite a lot. And if there was a stupid idea on bikes or pardon me, or I did a tour or whatever, I would write it up, take some photos, and put it up.
It's still up, isn't it? I've seen your blog. Yeah. It's not been updated in a while, but I've seen your blog.
No, it's not been updated for I think if I put a link to YouTube's what I do now. But it was basically because I love taking photos. Photography was my first love. Next to bikes, I would go away and I'd take photos of bikes, as everyone does. You go somewhere nice, there's a photo of your bike there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd want to write about it. This is where I went. It was really, really good. You should do this sort of thing and try and encourage other people to do it.
Yeah.
And it was Dan Walsh. So Dan Walsh had liked one of my photos on social media somewhere, and it was like, I was like, holy fuck, Dan Walsh is like this, showing to my friends. I was like, Dan Walsh was my hero when I was young. He was the guy.
These are the days that must happen to you. That was his book, wasn't it? These that must
happen to you.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing book.
So I think it was, I can't remember maybe it was an XR600 I had or something. There was something that Dan Walsh liked, so I messaged him. Like, Dan, I've read all your stuff. You're my idol. I'm trying to write stuff. I'm writing articles about what I'm doing, about like bike trips and whatever I'm doing. But I want to get paid for it. How do I do it? And he just gave me some pointer. Basically, he was like, tell them you have to be straight out from the very off. I expect to be paid for my work. Blah 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 blah. Send it in. Don't get fobbed off by, oh, you'll have a nice photo in the magazine or anything like that. Tell them, and you will, and it worked.
Mm-hmm.
Worked a treat. And I was getting, for a little while, I was getting not regular work, but somebody would ask me to plot a route from, say, Mull to Orkney and organise bits in between, and I've had photos, kind of make an article for it. Like, it has to be 5 pages, has to have this, has to have that, and I would, and it was really good, really rewarding.
What happened to that then?
You know what it's like. I was like, oh, I'll do videos now, so I started doing videos.
Aye.
I'm always sort of tempted to try and do it again, but there's only so much time. You've only got so much time alive to do stuff.
Yeah,
and I want to try something else.
So, are you enjoying the podcast? If you are, please let everyone you know about it. Sharing at the moment is the biggest trigger for the algorithm. Obviously, you need to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. But if you can just tell one mate about the podcast, share it across to them, that helps tenfold. I love doing the podcast. I'm really trying to grow it this year, and you can help me out by doing that. So I'll love you forever if you do. Whilst I'm on the topic of support, folks, the only reason I can do the podcast and the YouTube channel and everything like that full time is because of my Patreon. In the clan itself, we do meetups, we do live streams. You'll get early access to the vids. You get first choice on the questions on this podcast. And you'll also get exclusive early access to my chicken strips tours when they're released. If you want to check it out, head to patreon.com/TeapotOne. And if there's anything there that takes your fancy, feel free to support me over on there.
So yeah, that's a battle I'm sort of facing at the moment, is that, you know, my whole ethos is
live your life.
Live your life. And sometimes I think to myself, I'm just spending my life here, sat in or stood in this office, edited all the time and running the, you know, teapot and chicken strips. But then you need to do that in order to do the cool stuff, you know, to go away on the tour. We've just been to Australia with chicken strips.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's not a chance I'd have been able to do that myself if I wasn't doing it, you know, through my living, if you like. Next year, we're looking at doing New Zealand now. So it's like...
Dude, I've been in New Zealand. I've ridden New Zealand. New Zealand's fucking amazing. Like, New Zealand is absolutely mind-blowing. And people say mind-blowing all the time. You're literally riding along, right? Looking up, there's a big glacier up there. 2 hours later, you're in a desert. You know, like, it could be like some sort of, you expect the Wild West, some cowboy to come out somewhere. 2 hours after that, you're on the sort of plains of Kansas, and 2 hours after that, you're in a rainforest. So when I say a rainforest, there's no bullshit. It's a rainforest. Mm-hmm. It is amazing. It is amazing.
Was that down in the South Island?
That was the South. So we did both. So my missus is that she's just heading back soon. She's got family in the north, so we flew in, stayed with her family in the north for a week. We had 9 days on the south with a bike that we rented from Kiwi Motorcycle Tours. Mm-hmm. Alan, who runs that, I'm sure that's his name, Alan. He's a sound guy, really, really good. He can advise you about all the roads and where to go, what you shouldn't be doing, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, absolutely phenomenal. And then back up north, and even up north in the car, it was amazing. All of New Zealand, it's one of these places when you come home, it's the only place I've ever came home and felt homesick for where it'd been.
Wow.
You're like, and we were close. We were looking into, like, we could move there. We could live in New Zealand. That's easily. But then you look, you could move to New Zealand. You'd be fine, I think, because you've done your travel. You've done big trips. You've toured loads. But when you're in New Zealand, you can't just jump on your bike and jump on a ferry and go anywhere. Yeah. I mean, it's a 3-hour flight to Australia.
Yeah. We're so lucky here, especially where I am. Like, I'm down in the southeast in Kent. I'm 40 miles and I'm in like Dover or Folkestone. And then it's 25 minutes on the tunnel, both, and I'm in France. Off you go.
Well, we've got the ferry. So 2 hours south of here is the Newcastle ferry, which is obviously a bit more expensive, but it's an overnighter. And then that's us in Netherlands, and you can either go up to Norway or down to the Alps.
Yeah. Have you heard about this? They've been saying for years that they were going to bring back the Newcastle to Norway ferry, but I saw a post about it about a month ago, I think, that they were like, no, this is actually happening this year.
So the things that we've heard is it's going to be Rosyth to somewhere in Rosyth to Bergen, maybe, or Rosyth to Stavanger. Mm-hmm. There's currently, so this might all be absolute shite. I mean, I don't know how much truth there is in this, but there's currently, as far as I understand, a freight boat that's new that goes out of there, and they're planning on making it maybe a 2 a week or 3 a week ferry is the rough idea. I don't know if it's going to happen or not.
Wow!
But if it did, because we used to have the super fast ferry, which would go to Zeebrugge, I think. So it would come along the Forth and then over to Zeebrugge, and it was well used, and they just stopped it. But I guess they were in competition with Newcastle. Whereas if they did it from there in Norway, but the other one that they could do is they could just put it back into Shetland, and I don't know why they don't. The colours line, the one that goes to the Faroes and Iceland, comes right past Shetland. They can see it.
Mm-hmm.
It makes no sense. They used to pull in.
Oh, it doesn't anymore.
No.
So, but you can still do Aberdeen. You go to Aberdeen, and then you get is it 17-hour ferry up to Lorwick?
Yeah. I've done that on the monkey. I took the monkey bike to Shetland.
Jeez, did you?
Yeah, to the Simmer Dim. That is the Simmer Dim is hardcore.
What's that? What's the Simmer Dim? I've not heard of that.
Simmer Dim is a motorbike rally.
Really?
They say it's the world's most It's Scotland's most northerly motorbike rally. I think there's another one in Unst, but the Simmer Dim is raj, like absolutely wild. So you turn up, and it's like any motorbike rally. There's a big, huge tent with a band, loud music coming out this tent. So you go in and you sign up. Right, here I am, and you get your bangle or whatever they give you. There's a chance to buy a T-shirt, and they give you this little book. The little book's full of tickets. That's your drinks tokens, and there's loads of them. You basically have free drink the whole time you're there. And then you're encouraged to sign up, like to join in the games and stuff. So the first game that we've seen was what they call the boot party, and the boot party is infamous as far as the Simmer Dim goes. So a big, huge, long table. Everyone sits round the table with a little pile, like coins, 20p's in that in front of them. Mm-hmm. These glass boots sort of get passed over, and to start off with, they're full of beer, so lager and Guinness and cider or whatever, and you have to take a drink.
I think I'm seeing where this is going.
Yeah, and as it goes, it gets all sorts of stuffs in there. Then they're drinking, so it's like vodka with milk in it and eggs and some mince, and they're drinking all that, and it's absolute carnage. Folk are spewing at each other and everything.
Oh,
that's the first one. That's day one. Like,
how long does it go on for?
3 days.
3 days.
Like, fucking hell. But it's really good. There's free food. You get fed. You get everything.
When is this? What time of year is this?
So the Simmer Dim is the shortest day. So that is the Simmer Dim. So it's usually about the 20th of June.
Sheesh.
And it's invite only.
Is it?
But I can get you in. It's easy to get an invite. You basically send them an email saying, "Look, I'm interested in coming," and they'll send you an invite.
That would be a crack,
it's essentially a way to. Oh, it's. I'd go back at a drop of a hat. And what we did is we went to the Simmer Dim and had our sort of 3 days there. So when you're there, you can sort of explore around the area around, the sort of Shetland mainland, and you can ride about a bit during the day. Come out, kick the arse out at night, as you have to really watch because it's easy to end up absolutely like wrecked. It's a wild night. So but then a few days later, you need somewhere to go and recover. So just have a nice day to chill out. And then we went up to Yell and Unst, which are there's two big islands that sit up there. They're two very contrasting islands, and they're absolutely stunning. It's not Norway, it's not Scotland, it's not the Faroes. It's Shetland. It's
its own thing.
It's its own thing. It's its own thing.
Yeah.
It's a really,
I've done the main
really
island.
cool place.
I've done Lorwick and a little bit further north on the main island, but that's all I've done over there. I've done Orkney as well. Orkney was lovely. Yeah, beautiful place.
We're planning on going back to Orkney. I think next year is the plan on the Honda Cubs. But we want to do the little islands up the top, and the bikes get craned onto the boat. So they'll get scooped up by a crane and put on the boat that way.
Awesome. Right, dude, let's start tackling some questions, because there's a load on Facebook, believe it or not. I've got a couple in my clan on Patreon, but there's a load on Facebook. You've probably had a look at some of them already.
Yeah, I've seen that.
But new thing with this year, I have a question I pose to everybody, and that is, I describe Bru Time as a relaxed conversation podcast exploring what it really means to live your life through honest conversations with people who choose more. When you hear that, what does choosing more mean to you?
I think choosing more, what does it mean to me? I actually gave this some, so obviously I've watched your other videos, I've gave it some, or listened to other podcasts, I've given it some thought, and those thoughts have just disappeared. So to do more, I think doing more, by its very nature, you have to compromise. So you can't do more. You can't do one thing without, letting other things go, if you know what I mean. So, for example, I like to travel by motorbike. I've also, I like, believe it or not, for the shape of me, I quite enjoy mountain biking. But you've only got so much time alive. You've only got so many hours in the day, and you've only got so many summers a year. So you have to compromise to make sure you're able to do stuff. And now we're having a beer tonight, but I'm on a diet and everything now. I'm trying to lose weight and get fitter and healthy because otherwise everything's harder. Everything's easy when you're fit. I know you're on the fitness drive all the time.
Yeah, but I have zero consistency, and you can train as hard as you like, but if you've got no consistency, like I'll train for a couple of months really hard and religious, and I'll be really good at it, and then I'll have 10 months off, or 14 months off where I'm not doing anything. So I just weighed myself tonight, and I'm the heaviest I've ever been.
Well, I was the heaviest.
Second heaviest I've ever been.
I was the heaviest I've ever been about a month ago. I've lost 4 kilos now, so I was 113 kilos, and for me, my fighting weight was usually, even like as an older person, like getting on a bit, was 105, not 115. I was like, no way. So I
remember 115k. I think I was 15. Yeah.
You're a rugby guy though.
It was back in my rugby days. Yeah.
So doing more.
131 at the moment, or 132 at the moment. It's ridiculous.
Well, I'm back to 109. So if I would be 105, I'd be happy. 100's ideal, but I don't really get hung up. What I want to be is fit and able, because a few years ago I had a heart condition. I had a heart scare.
Yeah, come on, let's chat about that, because I know you do some work for the heart charities, don't you?
Well, I'm about to try and do some stuff. So the charities we raise for just now actually isn't heart related. It's the Scottish Air Ambulance and Spinal Injuries Scotland are the two that we do through the rally. But yeah, I do want to start doing stuff for heart stuff, because it was like the winter. When was it? It was maybe a couple of years ago, 2023 maybe. It was like winter time, so it was like mid-December, and unfortunately somebody from work had passed away. So I was at their funeral, and that night it was our Christmas night out. It was just the way it sort of came about. So I remember being at my mate's funeral, and I wasn't feeling quite right. I was feeling a bit, like you're coming down with something. So that night I was out, few drinks, and I'm not feeling it. Go home, went to bed. Full on, when people say they've got the flu and they've got a bad cold. Well, this was like the flu. Full on, like crazy sweats, bizarre dreams, all over the place. Not knowing what's going on. Proper ill in bed for ages, and from there I didn't quite recover. So always had a cough, and I was feeling knackered, and it was getting worse and worse and worse as the months went on. So it was like coming into February time. At this point, I'm coughing up blood, and
Jesus.
And when I say I'm fucked, I'm knackered. So I've had asthma for a while, and I've not lived the best lifestyle when it comes to recreational activities. Put it that way. So I'm like, genuinely, I was like, have I fucked myself here? What is this? Is this my past catching up with me? What's going on? And so I go to the doctors, and the doctor was convinced it was a chest infection. So antibiotics after antibiotics, CT scan, and they were like, "Oh, well, you've got, yeah, you can see there's a few issues with your lungs." And I don't know if it caught the heart or something, but they were like, "Oh, we just need to keep an eye on your heart as well, and if you feel any worse, let us know." So that was, say, on the Thursday. Now, when I was in my bed, this was getting worse and worse and worse. So when I was in my bed lying down, I was having to sit up to breathe. It was the weirdest thing. You'd lie down and you'd sort of feel like my lungs were filling up. Well, they were. It was like stuff was seeping into your lungs, and it was. I mean, my lungs were filling up with fluid.
Sheesh.
So I was like, I couldn't sleep. I remember sitting up and I was sitting to Karina, saying to the missus, I was like, "Look, this isn't right. I've put the symptoms, everything into Google. It's saying heart failure," and she's like, "Nah, that's fucking it's a lot of shite. It's not heart failure. Come on." And so the doctor said, "I'd like to give her a phone if I'm not feeling right." So I'm gonna give her a phone. So I phoned the doctor and they're like, "Yeah, go to A&E and just I've booked you in. They're expecting you." So and I went to A&E. And they weren't expecting me, but I still had to sit there for 23 hours. So it was like
23 hours.
23 hours, yeah. And they actually offered me a bed, but I was okay. And there was a little old lady who was looking knackered. So actually, I said, "Just give her that. I'll sit on this chair." So sitting there, sort of dozing, but they hooked me up to the thing that monitors your heart rate and all that sort of stuff. And my resting heart rate's 135. So I'm like, "Oh, that's
Jesus.
That's going like the clappers." So eventually, got to bed. I'm sort of getting some sleep. Every now and then, somebody comes around and checks your vitals and all the rest of it. I get sent to this ward, and it was just a general sort of ward. It had, pardon me, it had everything in it from people who was clearly suffering from mental health issues to people who'd been in accidents. It was just like a ward before people get sent to where they're meant to go. And this real ass turns up with an ultrasound machine. So she's like, "I'm here to give you an echocardiogram, that ultrasound of your heart." So she's having a look, and she's sitting like this, and then suddenly her eyes are like that. Her eyes are popping out her head, and I was like, "Oh, what is it? There's obviously something wrong." And she was like, "I can't tell you. I was like, "Come on,
that's reassuring."
Just tell me." The doctor has to tell you. I'm not allowed. I was like, "Well, come on, just tell me what's going on." She's like, I can't. So she runs away, and then straight away the doctor comes in. And I'm like, "Right, what's the crack?" And he's like, "Well, you've got stage 4 heart failure, and you've got a large clot in your heart, in the middle of your heart." And I was like, "What does that mean?" He's like, "Well, so what does stage 4 mean? Is it severe? Is that bad?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "There isn't a stage 5." And I was like,
Jesus.
Yeah. He was like, "Fuck," and I was like, "Oh, fuck." And he's like, "Right, okay." And he's like, I was like, "So what's the plan? What do we do?" And he's like, "Well, we think we can help you. We're going to start your medication, and that'll sort you out. Because the most dangerous thing that can happen for you right now is you can have a stroke, and the likelihood of you having a stroke is it can happen any second." I was like, "How?" And he's like, "Well, you've got a big clot in your heart. If a bit of that clot breaks off,
yeah.
that's it." He goes, "But don't worry, you're in the right place. We'd be able to totally sort you out." I was like,
Maybe.
"All right." And now, obviously, it's quite a stressful thing to hear. So this is me remembering, and I've told the story a few times, and we'll have quite a good laugh about it. You can have a stroke any minute, and you go, "Oh, great." Not that kind of stroke, Mr. Taylor. But you're like, "Geez, oh," so it's like, right. So they say to me, like, "You need to start taking this medication. We need to get the fluid to your body, so when your heart doesn't beat properly, your body retains water. Your guts don't work properly. Nothing works properly. So fluid sits everywhere." So I mean, I weighed something like 120, 130 kilos, but it wasn't that wasn't what I actually weighed. It was all like just water. Like everything was swollen up. Your feet, your ankles were all swollen up. So So the doctor told me all this. He said, "We're going to get you on this medication, and it'll start making a difference straight away. Do you want 5 minutes to get your thoughts together?" And I was like, "No, I want the medication right now.
Yeah, get me on it now, yeah."
And he went, "Perfect, that's what we want to hear." And he just said, "Right." And these people were waiting behind a curtain. They just came poof, straight in, IVs, loads of IVs. And he said to me, "Right, in about 15 minutes, you're going to have the biggest piss in your life. And it'll be, we'll put you on this, it's like a severe diuretic or diuretic, to make you pee." And he
flush everything out.
Yeah, and sure enough, I had this pee, and it was grey, all this grey pee coming out of me.
Oh,
But it felt amazing, and they were like, put me on all this stuff. This apixaban, that's for the clot, and the longer you're on that, the less chance you have having a stroke from the clot.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. And I was just I had the best sleep in my life. The best sleep in my life, because I hadn't slept properly for ages. And this really, it was a really loud, really noisy hospital ward. And it was like, geez, oh. So then it was like, I was eight days in the hospital, and then finally got home. And then it was like, that's when the sort of recovery starts. So you got offered loads of stuff. You don't have to take it. They were like, do you want cardio rehab? And I was like, I'll take anything you can help me, because at this stage of the game, I mean, I don't know how big your room is, but your average garage.
Mm-hmm.
If I'd walked from the garage door to the back wall, I possibly couldn't have made it back to the door. That's how knackered. So my heart was absolutely knackered. So when your heart beats, it goes like that, yeah?
Yeah.
Practically touches the middle. Mine was doing that. So,
oh, wow.
So there's hardly anything getting pumped around. So there's no oxygen going to your muscles. So nothing works. Nothing's working.
Yeah.
So you have to get all that going again. So they were like, you have to go for a walk. You have to go for a walk. So to start, my walk was like through the house. You'd walk from the living room to the kitchen, go back to the living room, and have a sleep for 3 hours. So I was sleeping for ages. And that walk became to going outside and then going round the block, round the house, which is, I mean, you'd laugh. You're walking around the street, and it's like a little street where the kids cycle round in a circle. And there's me walking along, like, it's like it took me forever. And if it was a windy day or a rainy day, you'd have an umbrella up, because it took me ages to walk about in the rain. And if the wind was too strong, I didn't have the strength and the power to get through.
Hold on to it.
I'd have to just put the umbrella down and just walk along like a zombie in the rain.
Mate, I sympathise with that, because I had, when I came back, I'll mention it, when I came back from the big trip, I didn't feel right. I kept failing the fitness test for my firearms license in the old bill. Went to the doctors, turned out I had an arrhythmia, an erratic heartbeat.
Yeah.
They call it old man's heart. And that's exactly how I felt. Like, I have never felt so, I would say knackered, but it's above knackered. I was just fucked. Like, exactly what you said.
Debilitating. You're absolutely knackered.
Aye. Holding my head up, I just felt fucked. It's terrible. And
I would
end up resetting me, like doing the old cardio version, with the defib thing. That's what they did. Touch wood. I've been fine ever since. So
you got zapped?
Aye,
Jeez, oh.
Yeah. So that's about 11 years ago. I had that done, and yeah, I've been fine so far. I've been fine. We'll see.
So well, I was signed up. So I had a cardio team. So I had my own cardio nurse, and I had a cardiologist, and these people were absolutely phenomenal, like phenomenal folk. The people in hospital were. See, when I was in hospital, I was like, all that was going through my head. I mean, it was April. This was March. I had my rally in April, and I had a trip to the Alps in September. And I was like, look, can I go to the Alps? I'm going to the Alps in September. Will it be better by then? And everybody was saying to me, look, little steps. You can't be thinking like this. You need to be realistic. Everybody, apart from there's this big black guy with a really softly spoken African accent, and he was I think he was from. I know his name now because I know where he works. I'm going to try and find this guy, and because he was in the Royal Infirmary, now he's down. I believe he's down in the border somewhere, in the hospital down there. But I would say to him, people would give me a straight answer. Well, about the Alps, and he would say, "Of course he will. Of course he will be the Alps." So you're going to be strong. You're going to be fine. And it was the only one person that sort of gave me this spark of hope.
Yeah, aye.
And it made the world of difference. It made so much difference. If I seen the guy now, you just want to hug him. It was like, I don't think he realises. People don't realise the impact they have on other people's lives. This was a big deal to me. I was like, this guy is a big deal. And I've said to the cardiologist at the time, because he was what's the person underneath is it like it's not the registrar or somebody like that. Underneath the main doctor. He was sort of, that's what his position was. And there was two or three of them that would come and see you if the main cardiologist guy couldn't attend. But yeah, big deal. So he'd be saying yeah, you could.
So have you been all right since then? You all good now?
I'm sort of okay, yeah. I mean, they say I'm moderately impaired, but you just get used to it. I'm back on the push bike, so I can cycle 15 mile, and I'm trying to do that. I have been getting out. I try and do at least like a 2 or 3 mile walk, or cycle 10, 15 miles. And I try and do that at least 3 times a week. And that's what I've been doing in the past 4 to 5 weeks. Obviously, when it's winter time, it's brutal. But I might need to get a walking mat or something for in the house, because that's what I noticed over Christmas and New Year. I let things go, and that's what I was eating. I was making sourdough bread as well, so I was eating like a loaf of bread a day, and it was no use.
We've just moved on to sourdough bread actually, and because I was just eating the wraps. I wasn't eating bread, but I was eating wraps. And then there's this app that you can get where you scan your food and it tells you how healthy it actually is. And all these wraps were just full of oilseed rape. They were full of that. Fucking horrendous for you. It's an industrial lubricant. And they said, sourdough is good. So I was like, okay. So I've replaced it with sourdough. But I'm exactly like, it's like a loaf a day. It just goes.
Do you make your own?
No, it's the stuff the wife buys in from like Aldi and stuff.
Make your own. It's easy. It takes no time. Buy a bread maker or a mixer or something, and it's not even messy.
Really?
I'm telling you. If you want, I'll even send you some of my starter. I can make it I can send you a little jar of starter. If I feed it and make it fine, just a tiny little jar, and you can take that, put it in a big thing, add equal weight flour, water, and once it doubles in size, which will take 6-7 hours, mix it into your dough and let that prove, and you can start making sourdough, and it's super addictive, and you'll become a bread geek, and you'll put on 2 stone.
Oh Jesus! I can't put. Thanks, but I can't put in any more weight. Jeez, I better not do that.
But then, if you're trying to be healthy, you know everything that's going in there, everything, and you can add stuff like chia seed and flax seed and all this stuff that nutritional people go on about. You can just chuck it in your bread. Brilliant.
So much to do already.
The heart failure thing. So after hospital, wandering about and stuff, and I was getting regular meetings with a cardiologist, and I said to him, look, I like riding motorbikes. I was like, and so I rode my bike to the rally in April, and it really fucked me. I should never have done it. I was absolutely knackered. I was so knackered I couldn't stand up on the bike. I toiled to push the back brake.
Jeez.
I was like, going up the Ardavarkhead. So I probably shouldn't have done that, and it took me like a week and a bit to recover. But by May, the end of May, I was doing a bit better, and I said, look, I'm signed off work. I'm sitting in the house. I'm going batshit crazy. Can I go with my bike? Can I go camping? And the doctor was like, yeah. He goes, in fact, I encourage it. I was like, really? He's like, yeah. It's it'll be great for you to recover. I mean, the bike's low impact. It's still, it's still a physical thing. You're moving around, but it's not super duper.
Mm-hmm.
And then camping, as long as you're not out of breath, as long as you don't, feel dizzy and all the rest of it, yeah. So I was like, all right. So I was away on the bike all the time. I was all the time.
It's rehab, love. It's rehab.
The missus would sometimes come in the car, so she would meet me, and
nice one.
It was really, really good. But honestly, man, I had the Africa Twin. But at that stage, I had my Africa Twin. I had a BMW K75, which my dad used to ride it up to the hospital to meet me. I was like, so my bike suddenly arrived at his house. He must have came and got it. So look at the window and say, look at the window. The K75's there. And for me, it was like doing a 25-mile walk to get to that window. Oh,
aye.
But got home, and I pulled the Honda 90 out, and I got the Honda 90 started, and it was like that felt amazing. That felt absolutely a little Honda 90, a bike that I've owned. It's the bike I've owned it for 16 years, and it has a top speed, if you're lucky, 50 mile an hour. And riding that 6 miles, I was greeting and everything. I was fuck you. It was the best thing in the world. I was like, if I can ride that, I can make to the Alps. I can get there. You can do it. And it felt amazing.
Awesome,
felt absolutely amazing.
So what do you do? You say you're fundraising for them. What do you do now then?
So at the moment, it's just the rally. There's a few ideas floating about. We were going to do a long distance thing on the monkey bikes, but the other guy, I mean, as you know yourself, doing charity stuff, the ride's the easy bit. The hard bit is getting sponsors, getting people on board, and we were going to try and make it a big deal. So I don't know if that's going to happen or not, because one of the guys he's got his own stuff on. Pardon me. The other one's got a quite young family, and I've got tours and stuff. I'm planning the Alps this year, Norway next year again, and we've got too much stuff on, so we'll see what happens. But the other thing I'm looking at is there's a, I don't know if you've seen it online. There's a thing called the Numb Bum and the Serres. Have you seen that?
No.
So this is I think it's the people that run the Wanlock Head pub. So Wanlock Head's the highest village in Scotland, and it's down in Dumfries and Galloway. So that they're saying you ride this route around all these castles in 24 hours, and you can raise money for the blood bikes, the blood bikes, and for the British Heart Foundation. So I was like, well, I could do that on the monkey. So I'm still, it's like, doing 1,000 miles in a day is hard enough. Doing it on the monkey might be impossible, but I'm tempted to give it a go. There's me and a guy called Ruard who are thinking about doing that. But
yeah, you'll do that. You'll do it.
1,000 miles in a day on the monkey.
Aye.
I've only done 1,000 miles in a day once. I've only ever done that once before.
Yeah, you'll do it. If you're doing it for a cause, you'll do it. No bother. It's actually, I'm saying no bother. It'll be tight, but you can do that. You can do that. Like you can do on a big bike. You can do 1,000. You can do 1,000 mile in about 15 and a half hours if you're being a bit naughty. So normally when you do the RBLR 1,000, it's around about 17 and a half hours is the sort of acceptable mark. That's the earliest they'll let you come in. So
a few years back, I bought my mate had a ZZR 1100. That was in the south of Germany, and he gave it to me it had 100,000 miles on it. I got it for £100. Well, I gave him £100, and he gave that to charity. And I rode it from the south of Germany back home, which is 1,000 miles in 22 hours. But I got lost in Strasbourg and I missed my ferry, so that was the delay there.
Yeah, you could do it, mate. That's a nice challenge to set yourself.
Yeah,
that's a good one to raise money for charity. That's a good one because it is actually a challenge. There's loads of people that contact me saying, "Oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that for charity," and I'm like, that's great, but where's the actual challenge? It's like, why would somebody they want to try and get companies involved and all this sort of stuff, and I'm like, well, what's the hook? Where's the challenge? Like, it's not.
What's your USP?
Whereas that's a tough one, and you'll do it, but that's a tough one. So I could see people getting on board with that for sure.
Well, we'll see what happens. I'm halfway through.
Too late, Mike. You've said it. It's happening. That's it.
It's happening. Shit. Okay, right. Okay, I'll sign up. Sign up tomorrow.
There you go. I said I would cycle around the UK on here. I was pissed on here, chatting about something, and I said, I've got this idea. I want to cycle around the UK, and then that developed through that episode to I'm going to cycle around the UK. So I'm in the same boat. I've said I'm going to do it, so I have to do it. I don't know when, but exactly. That is 4,500, 5,000 odd miles. That is going to take me 4 to 6 months, realistically. So when can I take that time off? Yeah, when can I take that time off? I can't at the moment.
You would need to take time off. You would just need a little lightweight editing laptop, and you'd have to just farm out these tours to somebody else. I could take one. They'll just.
Well, this is the thing, or I do it over the winter, but I don't fancy doing Apple crossing.
You could do it in stages. You could do it in stages.
No,
is that crap?
Yeah, I'm all in or nothing. So it's I'm not even going to train. I'm just going to head off and I'll get fit while I do it. So
really,
it's right? Yeah. I don't see the point. Like,
have you cycled much before?
Way back in the day, I used to cycle. As a kid, I used to cycle, and then up until I'd say my early 30s, I cycled, and then my wife was training for I think her first marathon. So when she was doing the night runs, I would sort of ride up alongside her on a push bike just to keep her company and keep her safe, kind of thing, when she was in certain places. But yeah, that's it.
I mean, I think not for fitness reasons, but for the safeness of your arse, I would do some training, because getting back on a push bike, I mean, my time off is usually like maybe 6 months, maybe a year. It is sore. That first 2 weeks is like, it's like you've been kicked up the ass, like really hard.
Everything's going to be sore. It is.
That could be epic. That could be epic.
Well, I've just got to figure out when I do it. When can I fit it in? I think it's going to have to be like a winter thing, a winter project. But we'll see. It's not fair for me just to bugger up. I keep talking about this in this bloody podcast, don't I? It's the beer. It's not fair for me to bugger off and just leave my wife. So, like, my wife would need to be in a position that she can come along, saying we've got a camper van, she can come along in a camper with a dog, and but then she can't do that till she's finished work. So she's got about another 5 years left, I think. So, yeah. I'm going to be like 60-year-old by the time I do this, I think, at this rate.
A lot of people start cycle touring in their retirement.
Well,
You'll love it.
We'll see. Anyway, this is not about me. This is about you. Let's get on to some questions. First one, Patrick Hennessy. Hi, gents. Question for you both. I'm planning an 8 to 10 day trip through France, Germany, and Switzerland in late August, early September. I'm hoping to stay off the main roads as much as possible and not just visit the usual biker tourist spots. So my question to you both is, what routes and places should I look out for on this trip? Cheers, Patrick.
So for me, I know people say I don't want to stay I don't want to be on the main roads. I always say to people, take one day on the main roads, batter past all the crap that you don't want to see. Don't sit through rural France and whatever. Just get to the mountains, get to the Black Forest or whatever you want to be. What are these countries? Was it France, Germany, and Switzerland?
Yeah, that's the one.
So, first off, for France, the places to look at are the Vosges. The Vosges are, a lot of people head straight to the Alps, try the Vosges, route the Cretes in the Vosges. It is still very bike popular, but the Vosges are small. There's lots and lots of good roads there. It's a cracking little place. If you're looking for a good campsite, there's camping Ramble Champ. It's on Lake Gerardmer. That's stunning. For Germany, in the Black Forest, there's a little town called Todnau. So everyone, again, Germany, everyone seems to do the B500, especially on the on your bike trips. But
there's no point now, is there?
Oh,
it's all 50k speeds and coppers at the weekend.
I wonder what the hell's going on. But you go to Todnau. Todnau again, you have to watch because there's some of the roads are banned from biker to bikes on certain days. But there's a few, like, there's no bad road into Todnau. In Todnau itself, there's lots of nice little cake shops and stuff like that. But there's a luge as well. So one of these roller coaster things that you can sit on, one-man roller coasters.
Brilliant.
That's worth a look. And for Switzerland, for me, I would say, so I guess the famous route in Switzerland is the Furka Grimsel System Pass.
Yeah.
Definitely worth doing. Newfoundland Pass is good. If there's a place that it's still touristy, but maybe not bike tourists, there's a town called Lauterbrunnen that is not to be missed as far as I'm concerned. It's, put it this way, I took from my mate Chris there, right? And we rode down the motorway to get there. So motorway, and then you turn off, and even coming down the motorway, this is no joke. It made him cry. He was on the phone to his dad, trying to tell his dad how good it was, and I made an arse of things. I took the wrong turn, and so I had to pull over and turn round. And I was like, "You all right, mate?" He said, "I can't take it in." And he was speechless, lost for words. And then you come up the valley in Lauterbrunnen, and that's stunning.
Yeah, if you've never done Switzerland before, I would sacrifice time in France and Germany to spend more time in Switzerland. Early September, late August, early September's the best I've found anyway. The best time to hit Switzerland. Middle of September. I was there 12th, 13th, I think it was, of September, and the locals were saying, if you left this another week, some of these passes might be shut. So, okay.
We've ran that gauntlet a few times. The first few times we were lucky. On the way back from Montenegro, we were scuppered completely. Everything was shut. That was sort of mid-September, and last time it was quite wet. So yeah, I think your man there's going at the right time. The other ones to keep in mind is the Albula Pass. The Albula Pass. If you go from,
which one's that?
So you go for, say you're camping in Andermatt, you go, rather than do the Furka Grimsel System Pass bit, you head up and take a right and go over the Oberalp, and then over Albula, and you're heading towards sort of San Moritz, Livigno sort of direction, and over that direction also. I mean, if you here's another one for your guy. If he's going to Switzerland, you may as well nip into like Livigno, which is Italy, but it's just over the border. It's a sort of tax haven area, so the fuel's super cheap. It's a good night out. There's a great restaurant called Bait Dalget. Go there. It's wild. But from Livigno, it's a great base to ride the likes of Stelvio. So you can go and do Stelvio. You can do the Gavia. You can do the Umbrail Pass. It's
do Stelvio either early in the day, as in like 8 o'clock, or 5 o'clock at night.
5 in the evening. Have you seen the photo?
Avoid it during the day. No, what's that?
Oh, I'll ping it over. It's I've got so we see if you at Stelvio Pass, you can stay at the top. There's a Tibetan style hotel
Oh
at
yeah,
the very very top,
and the viewpoint down. I've just seen your picture now. Yeah, yeah.
So I've got a long exposure shot. This guy basically it was a guy that works there just driving down, and it was amazing. It was such a like being at Stelvio at night is so unique because it was so still, and I don't know if it's to do with the acoustics of the place, but I could hear them crystal clear. And so I was in the Tibetan place set up here. My missus went and she climbed up the sort of monastery bit, the other bit which takes you the walks over the hills.
Uh-huh.
She was up there, and we could speak to each other at this volume. It was
really,
it was unreal. It was unreal, and I don't know if it was the atmosphere that day or the weather conditions or what. But I was like, I call her Hoop. I was like, Hoop, can you hear me? And she's like, yeah, can you hear me? It was what's going on? It was surreal. Absolutely
meanwhile,
surreal.
he forgot he had his AirPods in. Down on his phone.
Comms are on. It's a cool place. So that's all worth a look.
Patrick, I would definitely say if you're going to Switzerland, get a vignette.
Definitely.
That allows you to go on the motorway, and I know you'll go, oh, but I'm not going to go on the motorway. You will at some point, just because the motorway allows you to eat up. It allows you to connect a lot of the really good passes. There's, some of the big hitters, they're all in a nice big loop. But if you want to go, say you want to get to the Stelvio and back maybe in a day or something like that, the motorway just allows you to queue up some miles, and it's well worth. I think it's €70, and then that's it for the year. That's you
40,
taken care of.
40
euro.
And
you can buy them at petrol stations. You can get them at the border when you cross.
Just when you go to the border, just pull over at the border. There might be police there. Ask them, or there'll be a little place you buy. You buy at any border stop, any border crossing in Switzerland. You can get your vignette. Don't risk it. Don't. If you get caught on the motorway, if you get caught speeding, you don't break the rules in Switzerland. Just go there and enjoy the place.
Yeah. Don't worry about it's going to be boat. Like, don't not go because you're worried about the speed limits and stuff like that. As long as you're having fun in the corners, you're not going to break the speed limit. It's when you come out the corners and there's a nice, beautiful big long straight to get to the next hairpin or something. That's when people cane it, and the old bill just sit at the top, and you bank the rights. They'll do you.
If you're coming from Germany, if you're looking for a quiet place to stop, there's a town called Bad Sachsenring. You'll see it, Bad Sachsenring, and it's a quiet crossing into Switzerland. Buy your vignette there, straight on the motorway, and you can batter down, and you'll be round about the Furka Grimsel Suston Pass loop, and you've spent £40 on your vignette. It's taking you maybe 2 hours to get there, and then you'll ride that loop. It'll be one of the most mind-blowing, phenomenal experiences of your life. And you'll go, that is the best €40 I've ever spent. This is absolute dynamite. And then after that, you can go and do the Oberalp, and everything else is a bonus. It's absolutely that Furka Grimsel System Pass loop is one of the best roads in the world.
Yeah, definitely. I've done a couple of trips to Switzerland. I've never edited any of the vids yet. So I need to get them done.
Look at my channel. Subscribe to Yodagoat.
Yeah, go Yodagoat and have a look there. Have a great time, Patrick. You're going to love it, mate. Absolutely love it.
You will love
it. Next one, Andy. Evening, gents. First question. How has your passion for riding supported you in your recovery from your heart issues? Oh, well, I think we kind of covered that, didn't we?
Yeah, I think so. I think the ongoing takeaway is it keeps you motivated. If you watch my videos, you'll see there's one which I was actually quite embarrassed about. It's up there, but when I made it back to the Alps after getting better and all the rest of it, I was riding through Val d'Isère, pulled in Val d'Isère, this petrol station, and there was Ferraris and all these other bikes and everything. Then we ride up the Col d'Isère, and which is I mean, I'm lucky enough. I've ridden the Alps lots of times now. I'm quite lucky that way. But I was going up there and I was like, this is brilliant. And on that trip, one of the guys that was supposed to have came on his first ever trip had pulled out because he got the fear. Like Mikey will tell you, he got the fear, and it's a big deal for a lot of people to do a big long motorbike trip and be thousands of miles from home.
Yeah, if they've never done it before, yeah.
Yeah. So and I was filming and I was like saying, this is amazing, and I was like, it's really good, and this road's amazing, and everything's amazing, and then listen, I always said I'd be here, and that was it. I was like, and I started sort of rambling on, saying like, if you die, you can't do things like this, and obviously, if you're dead, you can't do anything. But it's all the love and passion and everything that you have dies with you. You know, you have to. It's so important to go and do these things. And I think that's where the bikes have helped me so much to make sure I got better, to try and keep myself healthy, because if you don't have your health, if you're stuck in bed, you're not riding bikes.
It's weird, isn't it? We take our health for granted. Definitely, I would say pretty much all of us do. Until you have an issue with your health, you know, and whatever that is, then you realise how fortunate you are when you either, you know, you get over that health issue or you get another chance, whatever it is. Yeah. It really does make you appreciate. And I still, you know, I still find myself sort of taking stuff for granted sometimes, and you have to sort of get a grip of yourself and go, hang on, you're in a really fortunate, lucky position here. A lot of people would give anything to, you know, to have the freedom you have just to get up out of bed and walk, you know, to the garage or whatever it is.
I say to everybody, I mean, you're riding your bike on a shitty day in the rain in Scotland. You're living somebody's dream. You're literally living the dream. People, you're so privileged to do what we're doing. It's like just take it with both hands and get hold of it, and
love it.
So yeah,
love it. Second question from Andy: if you could, what would you tell yourself 20 years ago, and what would you have listened? And would you have listened to your own advice? What would you tell yourself 20 years ago?
Probably to. Really, I would probably have said like you need to stop kicking the arse out so much. 20 years ago, there wasn't a drug that I wouldn't take, and there was I would drink would be unreal. Now, genuinely, I would never be on the bike. I would never have a big scoop and jump on the bike. But next day. I mean, we didn't really think about it as much. And remember, there was actually an advertising campaign saying, you know, you've kicked the arse the night before. Yeah. You need to watch yourself. Well, we'd all be going along the clappers, and we'd be. I mean, genuine, not like so. For all the police watching, it's not the case these days. But my weapon of choice in my younger days was hallucinogenics, so I'd be loading up on mushrooms and all sorts of stuff. I don't know what the hell's going on. Absolutely fucked your mind. And then next day, like, did 140, did the granites. Yeah.
Oh my God! I don't know what to say about that. Sheesh. But then, like I've never taken any drugs like that. I've never taken hallucinogenics or anything like that. And but you know, I've ridden my jigsaw at some pretty stupid speeds, and it's kind of what I imagine it might be a little bit like. You know, when you're on the jigsaw and you've got the throttle to the absolute stock and you're just looking ahead like that, everything sort of.
See, that's
weird. It's like you're going a warp drive, isn't it? Everything just sort of stretches out and comes at you.
So I was in the back of a Mini. Right. Okay. I'm just trying to think which bits of the story I can tell and which bits I couldn't.
Yeah. Wait.
So I was in the back of a Mini, like a proper old, a proper mini, an old mini.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in the back, and we're bouncing along, and I'm looking at the window, and
were you chemically enhanced at this point?
I was extremely enhanced, like extremely. Now we'd been in. The plan was we'd found these mushrooms, which we just we didn't know anything about them or anything like that, so we just made them in a cup of tea and drank them. And the plan was to get back then you used to eat doner meat pizzas, right? Do you know a doner pizza?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So the plan was we had a dairy dinner, so we'll drink this tea, go and get the pizza, and by the time we're back at the house and if we've eaten it, they don't kick in. But we were young and fucking stupid, so we completely miscalculated how many mushrooms should be in the cup of tea. So rather than say 25 mushrooms per person, there was 75.
Jesus.
So I was in the back of this mini, and the guy driving caught my eye, which when magic mushrooms was always quite a communal experience. So somebody's reaction can affect your reaction. So I've caught my mate's eye, and I'm like, oh no, he's clearly, we called it coming up. So you start having these big waves of sort of like euphoria. It feels that it's coming up. Like you're like, fucking hell, I'm high as a kite. You're off your mind on hallucinogenic drugs. And the other guy who was with us, he had never had them before. So we sent him in for the pizza. He managed to get himself trapped in the chip shop. He literally couldn't get out, and we forgot. We were sitting in the car going, "What the hell will we do? How do we get home?" And
just say no, kids. Just say no.
Yeah, just say no. Jeez, I shouldn't even be saying this. But so he's trying to get out of the chippy, and we're like, everyone in the chippy's like, it's just him as the customer, but all the staff are like, laughing at him. Yeah. And he eventually managed to get out, gets in the mini, and we're going along the dual carriageway, and I'm in the back of this thing. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And it felt, so we're in the mini, and I'm like, how fast are we going? And my mate's looking at the speedo, saying, we're doing 60, it's fine. And it felt like we were doing like 400 mile an hour. And a boy in a Honda Civic overtook us, and it was like getting past with the space shuttle. I was like, fucking hell! And my God, if you tried to ride a motorbike in that state, I don't think you'd be able to do it. I genuinely don't think you'd be crawling along at like 3 mile an hour. That's everything else would be too fast.
Okay, like, mushrooms are absolutely nothing like going really fast on.
Yeah, but a lot of people, I mean, the rush you get from going quick on a motorbike, it's. I mean, I've never done a track day, which is quite a regret. But it is one of these things that you think, and people say that's what it's like, and it's a very addictive speed. Well, you'll know yourself. Riding bikes. I mean, it's a very moreish thing. You go quick on a bike, it's all focus and everything else. Mushrooms is completely different. It's complete chaos. you're like, oh God, which is, you know, Hunter Thompson. When you're on mushrooms, you don't have a clue what's going on. Put it this way: if we were on magic mushrooms right now, you wouldn't know how long we've been sitting here gibbering shite for. You would think you wouldn't even understand how big the room is. It's bizarre.
Oh, wow, I thought it was quite a surreal experience. It's
no. Well, your man, the Baron, Chris Eads, he's done it, but he's done it as a sort of adult to help, and a lot of people are now saying it to help combat various ailments they've got.
Yeah, he did the psilocybin treatment. Yeah.
Now, back in the day, obviously, I'm not going to name names, but one of my close friends, he was going through a really, really shit time. He was. I don't even want to go into his situation because people know who I mean. But long story short is he puts an experience he had on mushrooms down to turning his life around, and it never had that effect on me. I only did it because it was a good laugh, but it changed his life. He swears by it. He's like, yeah, it's really good, but I'm just on the booze these days, and even that I'm trying to cut that down because I probably do that far too much. So is it Andy?
Andy, yeah.
So to answer Andy's question, I would have told myself not to have cane it so much. Would I have listened to myself? I think I would have. Would I have followed the advice? Probably not. I knew it was bad what I was doing. I did it anyway. That's it. Do you want a line of this? All right.
I'm trying to think, like 20 years ago, I was 29. And I kind of, I was enjoying myself. I wasn't even a biker back then. I hadn't even passed my bike test. And I didn't even think bikes were in my future at all.
Right.
So if I turned up when I was 29 and turned around to myself and said, you're going to ride a motorbike around the world, you're going to make your living making shitey YouTube videos, and you'll have a tour company traveling the world on bikes, I'd have been like, you sure that's me? Because
can I interrupt you? Can I ask you one thing? Out of those, so that's 3 pretty big deals, and it is. I mean, you make light about the YouTube videos. You've got a fucking plaque hanging up behind you there. That's an achievement. Yeah. Riding a bike from the world is a big achievement, and having a successful tour company, which you do. Out of those 3, I know it's not meant to be about you, but out of those 3, what's the daddy? What's the on your deathbed when you say fucking right? I did that.
The world trip. The world trip changed my life. Changed me. Right. Changed my life.
Yeah.
Like I'll advocate that for anyone and everyone till the day I die. If travel, I'm not even talking about a world trip. If just traveling, whether it's on a motorbike, whether it's walking, whether it's backpacking, driving, whatever it is, cycling.
Even flying higher somewhere.
Aye, if you want to do something, just do it. Make it happen. Mm-hmm. Like the only person that is going to stop you from achieving that dream, whatever it is you. Nobody else.
Big time.
Everything else is just an excuse. I know people are in lots of different situations. People have issues at home. People have financial constraints. People have family and health constraints. I get all that. There's a way around it. If you want it to happen, you will figure out what you need to do in order to make it happen.
I say this. I so much I agree with you there. I mean, I say this to so many people. I'm like, look, so folks say to me, oh, I wish I could do a trip like you've done to the Alps. And I'm like, it's just there. Oh, but it's fucking miles away. I was like, you rode to ABR Festival. I mean, so from up here, the road to ABR and back. But it's not the same. I was like, I know, it's further. If you look at it for the ferry and everything, you went further. So you went further going to ABR and back. I was like, you can go. It's not buy a tent. Oh, maybe uncomfortable. Okay, be uncomfortable, or buy a good mat. Buy a camping mat. Actually try it. Stop writing it off. Yeah. Go and do it, or get a shitty hotel. They're cheap. Get a pension or whatever they're called.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Not a pension as in my old age pension. The cheap hotel.
Yeah, that's what they call a guest house. Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, they're just little guest houses, pension, whatever. Yeah. Sometimes they're not even cheap. Sometimes they're fucking expensive, but they are the hotel in that area. So that's just what it is. I get every now and then I get messages off of people going, look, I understand what you're saying about live your life and just go for it and blah 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 blah. And they're like, but I'm not like you. I have this constraint. I have that constraint. I haven't got a well paid job, and it's just. So it's really hard. I get people's situations, but they are just excuses. Like they are excuses is the wrong word. The roadblocks you're putting in front of yourself.
So I've got a mate who literally. So an older pal, his missus has got Alzheimer's, so he can't go away. He said I can't go away overnight, and I was like, well, fair dues, but he still comes out. So any run he can do, he still gets out and does stuff, and he's enjoying himself doing it. And I've just said to people, just come on, just stop with the excuses. Don't stop building barriers. Just get on the bike and go. Just go.
Yeah,
and see what happens. Oh, aye.
I get that when people are a carer for somebody. I honestly, I get that. I totally get it. But for me, I'd be thinking, right, okay, there's this trip I want to do. I'm going to set myself a target in 5 years. 5 years, I'm going to do that trip. So you've got 5 years to knock your pan in at work. You've got 5 years to sell stuff you don't need, get some money together, organize respite, or fund a private carer for the week that you're going to be away, where you've got 5 years to try and figure a plan out with friends or family, some way that you can just get that week away or the long weekend or 2 weeks, whatever it is that you want. I'm not saying you can just go and do it next week. I'm like, if there's something that you really want to do, figure out the solution to the issues that you have that's preventing you from doing it, and then go and do it. Yeah. Because it'll change you. It will change you.
And it does. I say this to everybody. Travel is the best. I mean, a lot of people who have came on your podcast have said the same. Travel is the best, the best sort of thing to I guess to better yourself. I mean, it makes you a better person. You experience more. You're not just sitting watching the news or worrying about what's your mate down the pub's told you. It's it's important. It's important.
Yeah, you're out there meeting real people from different countries, from different cultures. Most of the times they speak different languages, but most people will speak English, so you'll be able to get by. And it's like a breath of fresh air, isn't it? It's like, oh, not everyone is a nut. Not everybody. Yeah. The world maybe isn't as fucked as I'm told that it is. And then you come home and you realise your home, your country, isn't as bad as what you thought it was. When you come back, you're like, actually, I quite like it here again.
Yeah, here. See, coming back to Scotland, this is my home. This is where I'm. This is the country I'm from. This is where this is my bit. And
my bit.
It's my bit. I love where I live. I love living here, which is again, I know it's a very privileged position to be in, where you can literally love where you are. I'm rural. It might be different if I was in some sort of inner city place or something like that, or Dundee.
The asshole of Scotland.
Did you hear there was an earthquake there? Earthquake in Dundee that reached, it was like 6.7 on the Richter scale.
Really?
It caused £3.2 million worth of improvements.
Brilliant.
What was her question? What was her question again?
Andy's, it was, if you could tell yourself something 20 years ago, would you have listened to your own advice?
Yeah.
And what would you have told yourself?
Yeah, I think the other bit of advice I would always, and I would continue to tell everybody, is travel as much as you can.
Yeah.
I mean, how old were you when you actually started traveling, and how old were you when you did the first your big trip?
It was 2008. I passed my DAS, so I was 32, and then pretty much immediately, I think it was less than 2 weeks after passing, or 3 weeks after passing.
Oh yeah, sorry,
I went on my first bike trip.
Yeah, because I watched your edit, when you re-edited your thing. That was
the DVD. Aye.
Yeah, fucking hell, that was good effort, that one.
Yeah, that was my mate Tom that filmed and edited the actual DVD. And he properly got me on that, because he came to the house and he set up all the lights and everything there, and we were just having a chit chat, having a laugh. And then he was just like, right, sit there. So I sat, and he says, right, you ready to go? I went, yep. He hit record and he went, so tell me about your mum. And literally my bottom lip just went, and that was it.
Yeah, that's fair play.
Yeah. I've got cheers. It's gone down well. People have enjoyed that, which is awesome. Andy's got one more. He says, quick one for Bruce. How's the new fitness program going? Do you know, I think it's exactly what I need at the moment. It's a very light tiptoe back into like just body weight circuits. So it's plyometrics basically. And it's really quite easy going, but it's just getting the movement. You know, I'm the hardest part of it so far is getting up and down off the floor in between exercises. That's the hardest bit. But I've got a bad knee. I came off a bike in Canaries just before Christmas, and my knee's still a bit knackered. So it's good for the time being, but I'm thinking probably next week I'll start rowing again, I think. Just doing a couple of days of rowing. But yeah, it's good. Even just that light circuit training, you feel a benefit from it. It's brilliant. It's great for your head more than anything.
Is that your rep? I know I've mentioned the push bikes a few times, but see for headspace, I know you like the rowing, and it's maybe a bit more time intensive. The push bike's worth a not exercise bike. Getting out on the push bike.
Get out on a push bike. Yeah.
I mean, and again, I wouldn't say on the roads. Now, I don't. And obviously, up here we can cycle wherever we want, and there's loads of where I live. There's lots of woodland, like woods and stuff you can cycle around, but it is good.
I have a bit of an issue, like a stomach issue. I've not got Crohn's disease or colitis or anything like that. I've no idea. I mean, I've been to the doctors about it. My dad's got it. My brother's got it. But nobody seems to know what it is. But I literally, if I need to go, I need to go. You know, like I need to be finding a toilet pretty damn quick. So I tend not to. I very rarely do running or like any strenuous activity that is outside and away from where I know is safety. I think a lot of it's psychological now, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But that's why I like the circuit training and I like rowing, because I'm here, I'm in my little area, and I know that, you know, if something happens, it's up there. But then, said that, I walk my dog at least once, sometimes twice a day, and I'm away for a couple of miles doing that. And I have been caught short, but
take some paper, some white gold.
Yes.
I get this weird thing whenever I go to the garage to polish the bike or do something to do any work on the bike. As soon as I go and close the door, I need to come back in and go for a number 2. And
do you?
Like, it's definitely a psychological thing, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is.
I don't know what's caused it, but bizarre.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Bizarre.
It's weird. Yeah, near as queer as folk. Right, across to Facebook. This is where most of the questions are this week, actually. So, from Rob MC. Hi, both. Great to see Mike on the podcast, Bruce. Question. If you get to the Facebook ones, well, we have, Rob. We have. Can you ask the mighty Yoda, why does he constantly carry an empty bottle on his bag when on the bike?
So that is the most important accessory for any adventure motorcyclist, because you're always going to be camping at some point, and if it's howling a gale, now don't listen to Chris Lloyd, who I think might be second down on that list, who he puts his member just outside the tent and tries to eject his water that way, and that's why his tent stinks, and it stinks. But the pee bottle is a game changer, and there is not. You went camping. Do you have a pee bottle?
I don't, but my mates do, and I saw what they were doing, and I was like, oh, that's a great idea.
It's a game changer.
Yeah. I was a bit like Rob, to be honest.
Yeah, Rob. I mean, Rob spends his time rubbing and wandering around. He actually makes. Well, it's his missus. They make earplugs, so ear molds and bigger is Rob and Cheryl. And I just recently got a set of earplugs made, so fair play. I know Rob. I'll give him a little nod if that's okay.
Yeah, of course, no worries. Plug away.
Ear molds, they're great.
Yeah. Again, that's probably something I would tell myself 20 years ago. Is when you start riding a bike, wear earplugs, because I just didn't until about 4 or 5 years ago.
Well, see, my mate Ferg. Ferg's been like at us on earplugs like for forever, and we're always like, yeah, Ferg, shut up. And he reckons he could watch us getting deafer. He's like, every year, so he lives in Cape this weird in here. Every year I see you're getting deafer. You're getting deafer every time. But yeah, earplugs. They are important.
Yeah, I'm noticing it now for sure. I've got tinnitus. So yeah, tinnitus. Yeah. Question for Mike. What are your, sorry, this is Aidan Forbes. What are your top 3 moments whilst travelling on the bikes? And what's the best bike you've owned?
So, hello Aidan. Aidan was my original tour buddy back in the day. So he now lives up north as well, but he's from the same village I'm from. Highlights of touring. What are your top 3 moments? Is a hard one to pick. I think riding down the west. So, I mean, it's a real hard one, and I think as you remember things, you sort of chop and change. But I did see that question, and I tried to give it some thought. So I think the west coast of the South Island, when we rode down there, we had some absolutely stunning weather. It was absolutely, you're riding down the west coast of New Zealand, which is pretty sparsely populated. There's nobody else there. It's different to everybody else in the world. You're just like, this is unbelievable. I was on a little, it was an F700, the twin cylinder GS. So it was and we were 2 up. Not the greatest 2 up tool in the world, but it didn't matter. It could have been on anything. It was like we were saying earlier on. It was just a great rundown. So there's that. In 2017, me and my dad rode up the line to Norway and into Russia. So there was bits of that trip which were pretty. I mean, riding into Russia was maybe not the best. It was the apprehension. I was like, fuck, I'm in Russia and it's really dangerous and all these people are going to shoot me, and there was all these people stopping us with guns, and they were just sort of regular people. They weren't, they were who knows where they are now. Some of these folk we met, but but yeah, I was that was a big sort of, that whole trip was quite interesting.
How did you find the Russian border then?
The Russian border, like the cross, was all right. I mean, my old man didn't get much hassle, but they weren't impressed with me. That's for sure.
Really?
So yeah, I mean, I had at the time I had so in the Lofoten Islands in Norway, they dry cod, so they make stockfish. So they had these big king cod heads. So they dry the fish, and that most of it gets sent away to Spain and Portugal and stuff, and they love this stuff. In Italy, they eat it all. The heads they then dry, and apparently most of them get ground up, and in northern African countries they use them to bulk up the protein in their foods. So it's like a fish powder they chuck in.
Wow.
So I had one of these cable tied to the side of the Africa Twin, and they were like, "No," they were just like, "No, not in Africa." And I was like, not in Russia." The woman said, Russia. No, not in Russia, not in Russia. And I was like, "Well, could I put it in the pannier? Put it in beside my clothes?" "Yes." "Not on bike, not outside." "Okay." And I was like, then they had to unpack everything. So tent, everything. Then I had a big knife. Fine, that's okay. Big axe, that's all right. No worries. "What's that?" I was like, "That's." They were like, drugs. I was like, no, it's not drugs. It's Rennies. It's for indigestion. I was like, I had to try and like show, and they're like, "All right, okay." Any sort of tablets, paracetamol. They were like, "What is it?" Papers for it. I was like, no, there's no papers for fucking Rennies. Calm down. And then try to fill in all the paperwork. So there's nothing in English at all. Nobody there to help you. You just had to guess roughly. Oh, there's that many boxes there, and that's that. So went to Russia. We stayed in Murmansk, We stayed in Murmansk in the Azimut Hotel, and it was everything that you would picture, like a gangster's hideout, basically, or not a gangster's hideout. That's a gangster's business.
Yeah.
So we turned up, and we're like, I know there's secure parking, and they're like, yes, you park right there, right outside the door of the hotel. Basically, there's the car park, and I was like, no, I want to be in the safe car park, where it's locked up. And the guy looked at me and laughed, and I was like, what? And he went, sir, you're in Murmansk, you're not in Moscow. And I was like, all right, what does that mean? I was like, I fucking want my bike in the garage. And he's like, he just went, nobody steals from this hotel. Sir, nobody.
All received.
And then, well, not just that, so there was 2 weddings on the go, right? Outside in the car park, and this is no bullshit. This is not exaggerated. No shit. There's so you've got like a couple of Bentley Batangas, you've got a bunch of Range Rovers and Audi Q9s. They've all got one thing in common. Well, they've got 2 things in common. They're all black, and they've all got blacked out windows. And every now and then, somebody gets in them. This big guy who looks like he's shaped like a stunted carrot. He's shaped like that. Big, huge guys with these supermodels. Everyone either looks like they're on steroids or they're a supermodel. They get in this car and the car fucks off, and it's ripping through Murmansk city centre. So it's like a busy city centre, and this thing's, and I'm not exaggerating, it must be doing 80 to 100 mile an hour, easy peasy. And they disappear somewhere, and then rip back. And every now and then a sports bike would turn up. It was usually a Repsol Honda Fireblade, and this guy was going up to the top of 4th and 5th gear, coming through the town. It was absolute insanity. So in this hotel, right, the top of this hotel, there's this panoramic bar. So because we're there, that's where we're staying. Like you can go in. There's no dress code or anything. So I've got, this is no joke. So we'd had quite a sort of long journey on the way up. We'd been to Nordkap, came into Murmansk, and this was when we were sort of blowing off some steam equivalent. So it's been my dad. So I'm like, right, unpack the shit that we need, chuck our tents and stuff, try to dry them out and that. So I'm sitting, having a few beers, a White Russian, and I've got no shoes on. I'm wearing shorts, and I'm wearing a vest, and the vest smells like fish because I had that fish head wrapped up in it.
Oh no!
And I'm not joking. So I went down. So at the point I was smoking a roll-up. I don't smoke anymore, but I would smoke occasionally on trips, and I'd actually had some grass in now the backy. So it was the sort of dregs of that. Imagine getting caught with that in Russia. What a fucking idiot. I know. But anyway, so I was sitting, been outside, and I came back in. Both these weddings are going on, and going up in the lift, there was these, what I believe are called gopniks, these Russian guys who, like, they're dressed in the 3 stripes and quite chavvy, and they were saying to me, like, they were speaking away, and one of them was from English, and he was like, you're not from Russia, are you? I was like, no, I'm not. He goes, you need a visa to come here. And I was like, I do. You have your visa, show me. And I'm like, fuck off, man, I'm not showing you a visa. And he's like, you'll not get in here. Not you're dressed like a mess. You'll not get in here. And I was like, you fucking watch me, boy. And he was like, I mean, I'm 6'4". This guy was a wee guy. So I was like, so as the lift opened,
it's always the wee ones, isn't it, Mike? It's always the wee ones.
So I sort of pinged him out the way and sort of strolled forward, and there's the woman in front of who does the door for the panoramic bar, like absolutely beautiful woman. She opens the door, like, and you have Mr. Taylor, and then she stopped the guy, the wee guys, and the boy was going bananas, but she just said, blah blah blah, and he just turned and ran away. But I was like, fuck off. Like, I was a poor winner that day. I was like, But I remember thinking, man, he'll go for my bike, and I was thinking something will happen. There'll be some repercussions. So we got speaking to the guy down in the foyer the next day who was the head of security, and he didn't speak in English, but he sort of took us round and he showed, this is where the bikes are, and here's some cameras, you can see the cameras watching, and this is my office, this is where I sit. And he was very calm, and he was one of these guys who was like, he must have been early 50s, very wiry looking, you know, these wiry looking people who like a killing machine, and you're like, you know, quite easygoing guy, and blah blah blah, and he said, very safe, very safe. And then he smiled, and all the teeth on this side of his mouth were made of gold. Like he'd had them knocked out at one point or something. But yeah, we were having, in Russia, my mind was going in overdrive half the time. And then we came out and you sort of realise that, as I'm sure when you did in many countries, you just realise they're just normal people like us, you know.
People are people, yeah.
I'm not trying to. You might have to edit this because I don't want to be pro Russia, you know, for against Ukraine and stuff like that. But I think for people, and you might be the same yourself as if you travel, you have to always remember that the people aren't their government.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
100%, absolutely, you know what I mean? Yeah.
So
I don't believe any of the shite we're fed on mainstream media, mainstream news. And I don't believe a lot of the shit that's in podcasts, even some of the big main podcasts that I listen to now, even those, I'm like, that's someone's take. And a lot of the time, you're not quite sure whether it's been fed from outside influences anymore.
A lot of the news, you see a lot of the news. I mean, that was one thing I noticed in New Zealand. So the news came on the radio and they were like, this is what's happened. All right. And then we were in the car at the time. Like, but what about the next bit? There wasn't one. There was no opinion piece after it. This is what's happened. That's that.
Yeah. Which is what our news used to be.
Yeah, our news is now opinion led. It's like,
yeah, totally. It's just social media on the TV. That's all news is now. It's just social media. I mean, I loved my time in Russia, and I really liked Russian people. I really did. And I mean, and I love my time in Ukraine. I really like Ukraine people.
We had this phenomenal experience. I was planning on actually trying to visit just before the year the Ukraine war had been Putin invaded.
We were going to Chernobyl, literally 2 weeks after the bloody war.
I wanted to go to Pripyat and do all that, but he's fucked up. But we had this guy. So in Murmansk, there's one man who's the tourist information, one guy, and he does Northern Lights tours, and he does. There's a big nuclear icebreaker called the Lenin. It was the world's first nuclear icebreaker boat, and it's now a big museum, a floating museum. Now, my old man worked in the nuclear industry, so I got in touch with this guy, right, and arranged. I was like, I want to arrange a tour to the Lenin. I know you do tours. Could we have one? Yeah, sure. Gave us a sort of rough price. It was like, 20 quid or 30 quid or something. All right, perfect. We'll meet you at the quayside this date. Right, no worries. So turned up. There's nobody else there. What's going on? And then this other couple turn up and they're like, are you here for the tour of Lenin? And they were Belgian, there were a couple, but one was Belgian, one was Italian. We're like, we're hoping so. And then, so the man comes, this guy, we'd arranged to meet, he was walking off the boat, and the people say, we're here for the tour. And I was like, sorry, it's a private tour for these two gentlemen only, for these two guys only. And I was like, what? And I goes, surely they can join us. And he goes, the boat is yours, you can invite whoever you want. So the four of us had a private tour in the boat. It was It was unbelievable, absolutely phenomenal.
Money talks, man, doesn't it? Money talks.
It was 30 quid. It was. I mean, and whatever it was in rubles, it wasn't like it wasn't even expensive. I mean, it wasn't expensive for Murmansk. It was just. He was like, no, you booked it. So if you've booked it, it's yours now.
See, I like that. I like that about some countries where it's just they just have the way of doing things, and for them that's common sense, and that's that's just how things work. I like that. I quite like it in some of these places that some people say are a bit backward. You're like, actually, I quite like this way of doing things. It's just, you know where you stand, right? That'll do me. Best bike you've owned?
Best bike I've owned? Well, before we answer that, can we do a pee break?
Of course, no problems. Back in a tick.
Much better now.
No worries at all. Right, we're back in the room.
Back in the room.
You all good now?
Yeah, so the question was the best bike I've
best
owned.
bike you've ever owned.
I'd have to say, so the best bike I've owned, my Africa Twin's the one I've done the most miles on. Honda 90 is the one I've owned the longest. But is it the best bike I've owned for pure excitement would have to be the ZZR I bought off Rick.
Mm-hmm.
The one that I rode back from Germany, just because it was so. When I was growing up, the ZZR 1100 was iconic. It was the fastest bike there was. It was between that and the VMAX for the sort of fast accelerating thing. It was like the sort of boost off the day. Now Rick's, I'd known Rick for a while. He used to live in Musselburgh, which was sort of near me. And he regularly would ride it to Germany, and he'd do the 1,000 miles in, like you say, 14 hours, and he would get from Musselburgh down to his missus' family place in the Black Forest. And I was like, the top end had sell about 30,000 miles. So it had fast road cams in it. It had a 4-to-1 micron system on it. It had the Blue Spot Yamaha front brakes on it. It had maxed-in suspension, front and rear. It was a well set up but well used ZZR. And Rick had done these phenomenal trips on it. He'd went from Musselburgh to Brno in the Czech Republic in one go, 21 hours.
Good effort.
That was 1,600 miles, and he was cruising at 160, and he'd 40 minutes to a fuel stop. But I remember having that. I remember saying to them, so my missus has been in the back of a few bikes. I remember saying to her, look, this it's old, but it's fast. You know, and I only paid £100 for it.
Does you?
Yeah. So, the story is ace. So Rick phoned me before. So he was moving to Germany. They'd sold their house. They're brilliant people. Rick and Andrea. They live in the Black Forest now. Basically, the stars aligned for them, and just as they decided to move, the financial things worked, and everything fell into place for them. So they moved, and they managed to buy this absolutely amazing house in the Black Forest. So they had a great house which they'd put loads and loads of work into. They did the whole thing themselves, and I think they've not actually told me this, so sorry, Rick, if I'm over guessing, but they've got this house in the Black Forest that's absolutely phenomenal, absolutely fucking amazing. And Rick said to me, look, before he went, the last thing I've got to sell is the ZZR. Do you want it? It's 500 quid. And at that point, it had 95,000 on the clock. And I was like, well, £500, it's probably worth that, but I couldn't flip it. I couldn't use it and make money on it, so I'll just leave it. So he said, no worries. So he rode it to Germany, sat in their house, and it sat while they were finding houses. They rented places, and it basically sat there for 2 years. They'd found their house. They're moving into the house. He's like, look, I'm going to sell the bike. It needs to go. Do you want it? It's yours for £100 to charity. So I was like, right, no worries. Now, keep in mind, it was still registered in the UK. I hadn't put it on German plates.
Yeah.
So I was like, £100, right? Okay, no worries. What's it done? He's like, it's done 96,000. I've rode it here and it's not turned a wheel since. Right, okay, so he's like, it's never let me down, it'll be fine. So I flew over, bought some oil, we changed the oil on it, so in Germany, I don't know if you've ever tried to do any servicing in Germany, it's not like here, you can't even wash your car. You have to take your car somewhere to wash it.
Oh,
because of the environmental thing. So I was like, if I change the oil, what would we do with the oil? And Rick's like, just don't spill any. So I fucking spilt it everywhere, all over his garage floor. So I was like, oh God. The clutch wasn't working, hydraulic clutch. So we bled that, got it working, and I was like, right, take it for a spin. So I was like, so it was insured. Now I've got some people that I knew in the police, so I spoke to them and said, look, how do I sit with it, the MOT? And they're like, you need to book it in for an MOT. I was like, do I have to book it for an MOT at Dover? Or they were like, no, as close to your house. As long as you're riding to the MOT and it's an MOT station close to your house. Now, you'll know better than me, but this is what I was told at the time. As long as it's booked in, you're fine. You're riding it to the MOT station near your house.
Yeah.
I was like, well, even if I'm riding it through? Like, yeah. Right, okay. So I had no MOT or road tax, but it was insured. So anyway, I rode it to my mate's. So over the other side of the hills in the Black Forest, I've got another friend who lives there, Wolfgang. So I rode over at his. The tyres were absolutely shot, like they were fucked. So we managed to find a back tyre for it. So we put a back tyre on the back of it, and then I set off the next day morning and rode it home. So 22 hours later, I set off at 6 in the morning, and I got home at 4 in the morning on the ZZR. And I was like, I've got no sat nav or nothing. I had my directions wrote out on a
old school
paper. And my first one was Karlsruhe, which, if you know, that's near Strasbourg. Before that, I got lost. So I was lost. My sense of direction shit. So I was lost straight away. It was a nightmare. And then coming through Strasbourg, the whole of Strasbourg, the motorway right to the middle of it, that was all closed. And I would be there to this day if it wasn't for a boy on an 1100 RS BMW called Audi. His name was Audi, and he showed me the way. So I got there.
Hell.
But I remember riding, so I crossed over Dover Cali. I missed my ferry, but I got on the next one, or Dunkirk, whatever it was. Got into Dover, and then just headed north. And I remember pulling in Essex, and this was like you'll be used to it, but for somebody for me, who I think Edinburgh's a busy place. I pulled off and I thought, well, it's 11 at night. I'll get myself a Burger King in this fucking service station place. Pulled in there, car parks full, everybody's there. There's queues out everywhere, and it was a Thursday night or something. I'm like, what the hell is going on? What's going on in Essex? So I just kept on going all the way up the road, and it was aye. So that was my ZZR, and then I just remember having misses in the back saying, "No, this thing's quick," and giving it the beans. And there was, I was dead lucky because there were some guys with a hairdryer. I think it was a hairdryer. There must have been some sort of, I don't know, security guards or something. The police were out, and they'd pulled somebody else over because we were down the road, 2 up, doing 165.
Oh, jeez, Christ, man!
You're like,
the ridiculous thing now. You're going to jail for that now. It's insane.
Well, you'd be going to jail back then. I mean, that was a mummy daddy. Actually, I put the bike under a sheet. I hid it, even in the shed. I'll hide the bike. That'll keep me safe. But it was such a, you start up, it made this sound, and it was literally like a machine from days gone by. Big, a big Jap 4 running on 4 big carburetors.
Yeah.
It was and it's, by these days standards, it's nothing. Like, I've ridden a ZZR 1400 with 204 horse at the back wheel. It was unbelievably fast, but it didn't have the same rawness that specific big Z had. That was
I got you.
So that's probably the best bike I've ever owned.
All right, cheers for that one, Aidan. Next one, Craig Fordyce. Question for Mike. What's his favourite road in Scotland on an adventure-style bike, and where's his favourite place to camp?
So I think my favourite road, I would have to say, it's a combination of two. It's one we call the Mad Wee Road Don't know if you know it yourself. So,
What's that?
So there's a place called Achiltibui, which is northwest of Ullapool. And if you're going, so imagine you're riding north out of Ullapool. That's the big sort of fast up and down the road, and you'll see a signpost saying Achiltibui in the Summer Isles.
Right.
That'll be to your left. Head along there, and you'll ride along. You'll ride right past quite a distinct-looking hill. The hill's called Stack Pulley. You know what I mean?
No. I don't remember seeing that hill.
You need to come on a Passing Places tour. Stack Pulley is a Stack Pulley. It's quite a wee hill, but you see it from the side of the road. And it's quite distinct. You've got Sullivan and Canis and everything. Stack Pulley. So it's STACPOLLAIDH. If you put that in Google, you'll see Stack Pulley.
Okay, I'll check that out.
Just past Stack Pulley, there's a turn off to your right, but don't take it yet. Head all the way along into Achiltibui, into the sort of bit, go round past Paul Bain, and you come round past Reef, and you come over a hill, and that photo that I've got a photo of my Honda 90, and you've got the view of these amazing hills. You see Sullivan, you see Cunning and that, Stack Pulley, and it's a really like wow sort of these glacier mountains. So you head back there, and then you take the Madby Road up to Lochainver.
Okay. Was it just like a little single track road?
It's super single track, and you've got you've got a little wall. There's a cliff here, little wall here, and the sea's there. Absolutely stunning.
Wow.
Absolutely stunning. Tell you what, if you want, here's one for you. I've got a tour coming up. Like it's 120 quid for 6 nights. For 6 nights, the bike has to be either pre-1991.
120 quid for 6 nights?
Camping. You have to bring your own
house.
Oh,
right. I was going to say, our hotels are more than that for one bloody night. Jesus.
Yeah.
You know?
So it's a fully organised, there'll be prizes at the end. I suggest the route, you do it at your own pace, do whatever you want. But what we're trying to say, I mean, you can do whatever bike you want as well. But we're trying to aim at people. So I run a Facebook group called Small, Old and Slow. And it's for people on old bikes or small bikes, or basically it's a way to organise group runs and to weed out the arseholes that want to race everywhere. Because as soon as they say that, they're like, they don't want to be part of it at all. So we just bimble about and look at the scenery, basically. So it's like sort of more relaxed. I think it's more accessible for folk. So I'm doing it through that, and through Passing Places tours. There's 10 places left, but we'll be doing the Madby Road as part of it. And
when's that? When are you doing that?
So it's September I can't remember. September the 3rd, I think.
It's on the website.
It's on Passing Places tours or Small, Old and Slow. We'll tell you now. It's the 3rd. Starting 3rd of September. If you want to come,
I won't be able to. That's my French Alps tour. We do that right at the start of. In fact, it might be the week after that, but I don't think I would get away with being away. Just before that tour, and then hi wife, bye wife, off on another one. Never say never.
We bike trips. That's what we do, and it's a proper laugh. And it's none of these. There's no. How I do it is I say it's semi-guided. So I organise a route, and there's clear sort of shortcuts you can take and everything else, or just do whatever they want. Everyone knows where you're meant to be at the end of the night. At the end of the day, this is the campsite we're staying at, and do what you want, basically.
Yeah.
Hopefully it works out as quite a relaxed trip that people do their own thing. I don't want it to just be a big follow my leader, I'll stop when they stop sort of thing. I'm hoping, and I've not hand-picked the people on it, but I did pre-invite a few folk who I know will have the get up and go and do their own thing. So
the gumption to do their own thing. Yeah.
But the Madby Road, it's definitely worth a look.
Right up. Check that one out. John Carmichael. Ask him why he sometimes plays bloody awful music over his vids.
I do not, John. John clearly has horrific taste in music.
Do you know John?
I don't. I think John might be. I think John might comment quite a bit. Oh, you're playing more of that shite music on my videos. But,
I get that as well. I get it as well.
But I don't always use. I don't always use royalty-free music. I sometimes just, you can monetize it, but I'd rather have the tune I want and just
okay, I get you.
chuck the money away.
Mm-hmm.
So
music's one of the hardest parts of editing, I find. Like it takes fucking hours sometimes to find the right track.
Big time. But I've got basically. I'm a bit of, well, clearly from what I told you before, I'm a bit of a space cadet. So when I sit and listen to music, I try and sort of picture the film I want to make to that song. So that song would do for this sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then I get ideas from there. So when I go, I mean, the only thing I use at the moment for music for the videos is audio with 2 eyes, I think it is.
Yeah, I use them as well. Yeah, they're good.
So they're really good. So I use a lot of their just classical music, and I try and find stuff that sounds like Ian Audi. I don't know if you've heard Ian Audi.
No.
You will have. If you put Ian Audi, so it's EINAU, well, AUDI, into Spotify. Look at the top songs. If you listen to them, you'll hear them from adverts and films and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, got you.
He's Italian pianist. He's absolutely stunning. Like really, really, really good shit. So I try and find things similar to that.
I use a few. I use Soundstripe as well. They've got some real good music on Soundstripe. And then who's the other one? Just Epidemic. I've got those 3 at the moment. I was using Artlist, but you kind of find when they start up, these music things start up, and you first start using it, and there's so much great music. You think, awesome, brilliant. So you start a subscription with them. And, within a couple of months of just doing vids, at least one vid every week, within a couple of months, you start struggling to find music again, like new music.
I know what you mean, but I've got a little sort of collection of songs, and I've maybe got 20 tunes, 20 tracks, and that's what I consider my soundtrack. So I'll just use that, and I've got so when I've got a drone shot or whatever, I'm like, that's what I use that for. And every now and then you find a new one, and you're like, oh, that's dynamite. Or you use one, you think, you watch it back, and you think, actually, that's shite. It's a bit too cheesy or whatever. I was using Licked for a while, and Licked's USP was you can use real music, by real
mainstream
artists.
Music. Yeah.
I wouldn't be using that. It wasn't.
Yeah,
wasn't good.
In what sense?
I was getting suddenly it was like, oh, nope, somebody else has claimed your track, and it wasn't the artist I was using. It was somebody else who maybe sampled it or done something, and it was just YouTube flagging it up automatically. And I've had it 3 or 4 times, and you have to email them. I'm like, look, you need to sort this out. And after maybe the 5th time, I was like, nah, I went to audio instead.
Yeah, I like audio. Audio's good. Right, next one. Big Pezza's Moto Adventures. How long have you had the Gold Cub for, and where does the name Yoda Goat come from? Well, we've done Yoda Goat, but how long have you had the Gold Cub?
The Gold Cub, so I know Pez. Pez is a YouTuber. If you go to Big Pezza, you'll see his channel.
I've met him at a couple of events.
Yeah, so he's quite a character. He's stayed here a few times. I'm actually sitting. This is Pez's bed. For real. This is where Pez sleeps. It's a sofa bed. But I've had the Gold Cub since 2010. I've bought it. Now, I don't know if you... How old are you, Bruce?
49.
You're 49. So I'm 44. So when we were young, you wouldn't be seen dead in a Honda Cub. I'm sure you were the same. A Honda 90, I'll get the bus, thanks, mate. That's what it was around about here anyway. Especially, the Honda 90 was the stand, like, if you're a yokel who lived up the hills, you'd have a Honda 90 because it was too hard to cycle down. and it looked like something that Frank Spencer would ride. You're like, geez, oh. So I bought my Honda 90 for £150 in 2010, and I got ripped apart. Everybody was like, "You are off your head. You've spent £150 on a Honda 90. You have one."
Oh, man.
And now look how much to go for.
I know, I was going to say, Jesus, 150 quid. Wow.
Yeah. And it was in
Hell.
pretty good condition. But I've now got the fancy wheels in it, and it's got a different engine, but I've got the Honda engine for it. Look, it's there. That sits on my T-shirt. Buy some merch, everybody. Look, Cam Dune. That's the Honda 90 in these mountains. That. But aye.
Have you ever done the? Did you ever do the Nathan Millward thing? You know, he did this thing on the postie bikes. Did you ever do that?
I didn't. I've actually worked for Nathan. So me and Nathan, I did some writing for Nathan back in the day, and I think I like see Nathan's. I followed Nathan's adventure. His first one, he rode the postie bike back from Australia, and I think Nathan's a great guy, and I think what he did, and I think his books are absolutely amazing. But we did have a minor falling out, so he didn't quite agree with some of the things that I agreed with, and it was during COVID and everything else, and I think everyone was going through a bit of a hard time, and that was it. But I wish Nathan all the best, and I mean, and I've seen what he's done. He's done with his sweet shops and his tours and stuff, and I think hats off to the man. I think he's doing a good thing.
I keep bumping into Nathan when we're on our tours. Normally the French Alps tour, we're in is it Saldo or O in northern Italy, just near the French border. We stop there for a night, and it always seems to be that hotel. We bump into each other either in the hotel bar or one of the bars in the village. Yeah, like I think 2 times now the last 3 years we've bumped into each other on that tour.
That's quality. Yeah. I mean, to be fair play to him, he's a real sort of stalwart for the wee bikes, and for I think I like to see what he's done. I mean, I hadn't been to the Scottish Motorbike Show for years, so we went to the one just recently there, and a lot of it was Chinese bikes. You know, like there was Cove and QR Moto, I think it was called. You know, brands that you've not really heard of, Benda, all that sort of folk, and you're like, look at riding a Benda, but you look around and what was, I mean, 3 or 4 years ago when you looked at them, you could see they were shite. You know, there were literal rough edges on them. Now going in, you're like, man,
good machines now, man. Good
for
machines.
the money. And fair play to Nathan. He's been the one that's been sitting, testing them and going through them and giving it all a go. And for what you're getting for $3,500 up, £3,500 to £6,000.
Yeah,
it's hard to argue against.
Yeah, it is. It is. I was chatting with Luke about it on the last episode of the podcast. That's coming out tomorrow, and we have a big long chat about it. Actually, it's the future, really, isn't it? It's a bit of a revolution that's going on, and it's going to be the future.
The only thing I don't like is they've got shit names. QR Moto, that's crap. They need to have something that has to come up better than that. You know, like how they renamed all the Japanese bikes for the American market. They never had ZX7s, they had Ninjas. We all need something like that. The Razor or something.
The Chinese they're obviously, it's all in-house, really. So, it's the Chinese PR and marketing teams that are dealing with all of this. Maybe once it becomes a bit more mainstream and the sort of European and Western marketing agencies, maybe they'll suggest that they rebrand a few of the names.
Yeah, like the GB Moto. I mean, you see some of the people bringing them in. They're into them. I mean, we were. I spent a lot of time on the stalls. Sorry, speaking to them. The importers, GB Moto. They had loads of time for us. They talked us through all the bikes. I've got a pocket full of cards to arrange test rides at various places. I'm up for giving it a shot.
Yeah, they're very pro. They're very pro. Good folk at GB Moto. Real decent. Right, next one. Paul Simpson. Great to see a happy face. So my usual question is food related. What is your go-to food on a trip? Is it a butty, sausage, bacon, or cake, or both? Keep these coming, Bruce. Us truckers love having you back. Thank you very much, Paul. Cheers. I see you're vegan.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is where your viewers just like that.
So do you have
He's
dust
vegan.
and lettuce? Is that what you have?
How's that fat cunt vegan? No, I'm vegan. You know it's coming. No, I would go. I go for the vegan option, which is chips every time. Chips.
I want chips.
If they've got a vegan burger, vegan sausage, yep, I'll have that. But chips is the usual. That's what we go for, is either chips, pizza with no cheese, or the other vegan option, which is you can fuck off.
What about cake? Where do you stand on cake?
Well, cake can be a bit. There's usually a vegan cake in most decent cafes. We are pretty lucky up here. We've got just up the road. There's the Humby Hub, and they do vegan mint slice, which is, if there's anything I'd want, it would be mint slice.
Mint slice.
You must, Bruce. Mint slice. So it's like imagine a buttery biscuit base. You know, a sort of chocolatey, biscuity base. So it's all smashed up. And then it's sort of like Kendall mint cake. And then there's a layer of like mint icing. And then a layer of dark chocolate. And it's like a big tray bake. Have you never had this?
I'm not aware of this. I don't think this is
long, Bruce.
Crossed my nose, so to speak.
A mint slice. It's dynamite. It's absolute dynamite.
I might have to quality control one of these. Right.
Yeah,
okay.
You can't go wrong with mint slice. There's these. I was quite suspicious that these are suspiciously healthy. Date slice. I was like, a date slice, fruitcake. Yeah. Again, it's like dates and it's all smashed up, and you've got like a sort of crumble through it, and then chocolate on top. So it's like this chewy, sweet, crumbly thing. And you think dates, well, it's shite. It's amazing.
I've not had my tea yet. I'm so hungry. Now you're talking about food. My stomach is literally rumbling.
Man, you should have had your dinner before you got me on. I talked far too much.
No, well, because of what we discussed earlier, I don't eat before I do the podcast. Yeah. It might not be good. Right, next one. Davey Baxter. Hi, Bruce. Good guest. I love his content. I wish more YouTubers would keep the swearing in the videos. Would he consider a subscriber meetup and run? In Scotland, obviously.
Yes.
Right.
I do. You'll see some people actually. So my mate Brian, you'll see Brian in the latest video. He's the boy that drops his GS. Sorry,
it's Brian Ingham.
Yeah,
I've just seen his comment. Yeah.
So as I was saying earlier on, we've got the meeting. It's not a subscribers meeting, but I run a Facebook group called Small, Old and Slow. So if people want to come on runs with me, we regularly put stuff up there. Sometimes it's organised well in advance. Sometimes it's an hour. And I try and encourage other people to do the same thing. We're all about trying to get people out on their bikes, going for runs with people out on their bikes. There's no pressure to ride like a twat. I like to ride like a twat. I like to push on and go quick. But if you're on a Honda 90, then you're doing 40 miles an hour. And I understand why people don't, and I'd rather sort of support people to come along and get out on their bike a bit, and not be intimidated by folk.
Nice one.
So that's what we try and do. So yeah, small and slow, or passing places tours is where I'm going to try and do a few more runs.
There'll be links for all that down below, folks, so make sure you check them out. What else we got here? Mike Murphy Sunter. Can you ask him to give me my pants back that he stole in Lake Como?
So that's Mikey Sunter. Bruce, you must have seen Mikey Sunter from Caithness. Mikey, so let's just drop Mikey in the shit. Mikey was the one that pulled out the trip, who should have been in the first time. But fair play to him, he has since been round the Alps. So Mikey, it was his first ever big trip. So last year, he never just... Was it last year he did the big trip or the year before? The year before he did the big trip. Last year he passed his full test, so he's now got his full A license rather than just A2. And me and Mikey and a few others are doing the Alps in June. But when we were in Lake Como, it was absolute torrential rain. So we'd ridden from Livigno down to Como, and we came down over the Maloja Pass. Do you know what I mean? You come through San Moritz from Livigno, down the Maloja into Como. It was dynamite. Mikey fucked up and he went the wrong way. But he still managed to find his own way there.
Is that a single track pass?
No, the Maloja is the big wide one that looks like steps. There's quite a few iconic photos. John shoots it. But me and him ended up sharing this, basically a shed. It was like a sauna come sex room basically thing. At least that's what I think Mikey thought it was.
You know, why not?
Yeah, well, I mean, I had actually really injured myself. I'd went out in Livigno, and we'd been in Bait Dolget, which is that restaurant I was telling you about. Now the thing is with Bait Dolget is you cannot book a table. You just have to queue to get in, and it's a very popular restaurant. But while you're queuing, you get free drinks. So it's a nightmare. And as you're queuing to pay, there's also free drinks, and there's loads and loads of schnapps. So I ended up falling over, and I tore my pectoral muscle. I think it was this side. So I was in a lot of agony. I ended up stuck in the shed with Mikey, which is a bad place to be. And he stole my pants, and he's still got them. And he puts them on his head and watches my YouTube video, and he's never washed them either. That's all fact. That's all 100% fact. Him and his wife, a leg each.
You're close, you lot, aren't you? You're very close.
We are, we're very close. So I didn't steal his pants.
Jeez, I've got a bloke who does all my tours, and he's a good mate now. Dale, don't you be getting ideas, mate? Do not get ideas.
Well, if you watch the videos,
I'm not putting Dale's pants on my head. Jesus.
If you watch the videos, you'll see Mikey. He's in all the little cub videos, and he does all that. So he's a good lad. He's up for a lot. And guaranteed, probably 50% of your viewers have bought a bike of him. He sells that many bikes. He literally goes through bike. Oh, it's horrific how many bikes he buys and sells. He would literally sell his own eyes if he could. An animal.
Well, if you know Mikey, folks, let me know in the comments.
Yeah.
Richie Salt says, tell him not to give away our secret road routes. Good lad, our Mike. Chris Lloyd says, don't get on to using a pee bottle when you camp. You'll never shut up about it. And the last one, Richie Salt. Ask why the Monkey is the best B-road exploring machine.
So the Honda Monkey, have you ridden one?
Have I ridden a monkey bike? No, I don't think I have. No, I don't think I've ridden a monkey.
Not the old style monkeys are various levels of twitchy because they're various Chinese chassis, but the new Honda twin shock Grom engined bike, it is literally a motorcycle in miniature. So you've got, even for somebody your size, like I'm the same height as you. I'm 6'4", a big huge guy, Salty. So Salty, the man there, he's also got a monkey, and Salty does serious miles. He lives in like Newcastle area, and he's done 600-700 mile days on his monkey just for the
Good
track.
effort. Good effort.
I mean, he's got a gold. Salty's got gold wings and all sorts of stuff, but he goes out on the monkey and does these massive days. The monkey is phenomenal. So it does like 100. If you're flat out on it and you're a big dude like near you, you'll still got 120 to the gallon. So
really?
oh yeah, it's I don't know how they've done it, but you're out all day and you go and fill up fiver.
That's the bike to have just now. Jesus.
When you're on it, I mean, the handling's good enough, and you don't want to be handling. You don't want everything to be too good, because let's face it, it's got a top end 55, 60.
Uh-huh.
So if it was too good, it would just be boring. It'd be easy. So you're on it. It feels like you're on it. You're chucking the bike about. It's great. It's rewarding and endearing to ride. On a back road, it's everything you need. It is the best thing for exploring, like down the borders, down to Newcastleton. I don't know if have you done the Newcastleton road?
No, not.
Oh man! So look it up. You'll want to do it for one of you. If you're ever taking a tour up here, give me a shout, and I'll help you with routes up through the borders. Stuff that everyone misses, that people won't want me to share it here. I've put it on YouTube, but I've not got that big of audience. These roads are phenomenal. Into Newcastleton, so you've got Hawick down to Newcastleton, and then Newcastleton to Jedburgh. It's phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
There was a road I did into Jedburgh, and Cali Moto sent me down it, and it was fucking amazing. Was just amazing fun.
Can you see it going up the hill like that?
I don't remember that bit.
Because if it's that one,
I'll confirm it with you off camera. It won't make very good podcast if I'm sat here waiting for Cali Moto to log in.
All that sort of stuff, or even for us, we've got this little road. So say if you're in Edinburgh area, ride out to East Lothian into a little town called Gifford, and then you go to Duns. So you head. There's basically two roads that take you to Duns. Over the Longford-Makis Road, and then you come back the Whittier Road. It's like this little loop. And on the Monkey, it's a mix between single track roads and sort of double track. It can be quite gravelly, quite potholy here and there. Monkey's perfect for it. Big balloon tyres. Okay, the suspension's a bit crap, but it's just amazing. It's the most fun. I mean, they're great, endearing little bikes. The only issue they have is they're $4,000, and you can get something like a GB350 for under $4,000, and people will look at it, and if you've got any real sense, you'll go, why the hell will I spend £4,000 on a Monkey, which is, it's arguably useless. You can't leave it anywhere. Somebody will pick it up and put it in a van. You can't carry it. I mean, trust me, I've toured for 6 days on it. You can't carry anything on it. They're a nightmare.
But it puts a massive smile on your face, doesn't it?
It really does. It needs a pipe. You have to have a loud exhaust in it, which is, I know loud pipes don't save lives, but when you live in a rural place, loud pipes do save lives.
I'm a firm believer they do, man. I'm a firm believer they do.
Anybody that says they don't hasn't ridden where there's deer. Simple as that.
Yeah.
If you're riding along where there's deer, you'll want to be as loud as you possibly can be.
Mm. Mm.
But yeah, that's the Monkey.
Right, Monkey bike it is then. No, I've never ridden one of them. That or the little Cub, the little wee Honda Cub. That everyone seems to love riding them. So
see, with the Cub, I've owned a Cub for 16 years. The thing is, so the Monkey is good to ride. The Cub's a bucket of shit. I mean, people will hate all the Cub people. No.
Oh, yeah. You've just lost the room.
But that's what makes them so good. They're so bad, they're good. They are so bad, they're good. It's like riding something for the last century, because it is.
See, when we did that big little adventure, I had the wee Sinus. I had the wee Sinus Terrain 125. And, I could feel the chassis bending underneath me. It was woefully underpowered, even for a 125. But I had the best fun. I had such a blast on this thing. And I just, I think that was like $2,000. And I remember thinking to myself, you'd buy one of these just for the shits and giggles. Yeah. I've no idea how long it'd last, but Jesus. I took one of them around the UK. I did the Four Corners ride, and geez, I mean, it was mint. I just had such a giggle.
That was a long distance. Was that over like a short period of time as well? Were you not doing that in like?
Yeah, that's about 2,300 odd miles, and if you're doing it for the iron butt thing, it's 40. You get 48 hours to do it. But that took me about 3 and a bit days, I think, on the 125, or 3 days. It took the longest to do it on the electric. That's probably the hardest thing I've ever done was the electric, just because.
Really,
Yeah. Like if you do, you can that big ride. If you do it in under 2 days, if you do it in under 48 hours, it's tiring, but it's not too bad. You know, I sleep along the way. I'll just pull over and have a load of power kips as I go, so it's not too bad. Once it started stringing out to 3, then almost 4. Like electric was almost 4 days, and I mean, I was just, by the time I finished and I dropped that bike off, I couldn't even ride home. I just had to pull the bike over in a lay-by, get off, and I slept for like 2 hours, just comatose in a verge.
Do you just lie on the ground?
Oh yeah.
Fair play.
I mean, I couldn't keep my eyes open. I literally could not keep my eyes open. So, and then when I got home, I laid face down on the floor, and I think I was asleep for about 6 hours, 7 hours.
Jeez,
my wife every now and then would just sort of walk by, and as long as I was snoring, she knew I was alive.
Make sure you're breathing, fucking hell.
Yeah, I know.
So is that how you do these micro sleeps? Do you basically just sit and like that?
Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh. Or if you need a good sleep, then I'll lie on the ground or pull into a services and just fall asleep in a chair.
No little tent or anything. Just helmet on, lie on the ground.
Yeah, there's no time for that. Just off you go. I treat it as it's just a challenge. It's just a challenge for me. So
do you think is it psychologically harder or physically harder?
Psychological. Yeah. But you have to know, like any of these endurance rides, you've got to know your limits and you've got to be realistic about your limits. Like you have to push. Obviously you need to push, but you need to know when your body's going, you need to sleep.
Yeah.
Because you cannot afford to fall asleep on a bike. Not only is that going to be bad for you, but potentially that could be horrific for somebody else.
Yeah. I've actually heard about that happening to somebody. Yeah. So yeah,
you can't take that chance. So when I get to the stage where I'm tired, it's like, right, okay. I have nodded off on a bike before. The long blink where you suddenly go, "Are my eyes still shut?" And you're like, "Oh my god." That scared the living shit out of me. So from then on, it was like, right, not taking that risk again. Yeah. So which is why I'll just pull over and 10 minutes, 20 minutes. That's all you need. That's you good for another hour or two, and just rotate as I keep doing that as and when you need it.
Yeah, fair dues.
I'm really lucky. I don't need a lot of sleep. I've functioned probably for the last 30 years on between 1 and 3 hours sleep a night.
Really?
I've just never really needed much sleep.
See, I need to sleep. I need to sleep like a lot. But I can stay up for 24 hours easy enough.
Yeah.
That's not an issue. 36 hours, not too bad. So it's like, but then when I need to sleep, I need to go. Yeah. So I think.
So go on.
I was going to say, I think if I was doing this 24-hour challenge, rather than pull over and try and kip for a couple of hours, I would have to just push on and get finished and then sleep at the end.
Aye, 24. You can push through 24 hours. Well, I'm saying you can. Maybe not everybody can. Some people can't do that. So fine. No, that's why I'm saying know your limits. Be realistic about your limits. I think the next one of these challenges I do is going to be a lot harder because I'm not doing shift work anymore. Effectively, I have a normal work schedule these days.
Yeah. So back in the day, pardon me, Jesus. Back in the day, I used to work in homeless hostels. So that's so like 20 years ago. That's what I was doing. I was in homeless hostels, so it was all shift work, and some of that was for a little while. I did permanent nights, which is fine when you're in your 20s. I'm in my 40s now, so I don't know how it'll work.
Oh, nights will kill you, man.
We'll have a shot.
Yeah. Just accept if you're knackered, just accept you're tired, and
that's it. Call it quits.
Have a kip. Just have a kip. Yeah. Anyway, right, mate. That's us over 3 hours, Mike.
Jeez, oh.
I think we could get to 4, to be honest. But I'm starving. All that talk about food, my stomach's just been rumbling ever since.
What are you having?
Do you know what? I think my wife made a stir fry, so I'll have cold stir fry somewhere. I think
That's fair play. Well, enjoy yourself.
Will do, pal. Will do. Mike, give some shout outs, mate. Plug whatever you like. Stage is yours. Over to you.
Okay, just give my channel a watch. If you look up Mike Yodagoat on YouTube, links in the comments. If you want to come on the Sooner Wildcat Rally, keep an eye on Passive Places Tours. It is sold out this year, so tough shit there. But we've got a trip in September. I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet. Our stuff sells out really quick. We've got a lot of word of mouth people, and the folk that come on the trips, they're very cheap, so people sign up. So if you want to come along to the trip in September, which is called Mike's Big Scotland Tour, which is a 6-day camping trip for small and old bikes, everyone else is welcome as well. Link again in the description. Thanks to Beeline for sponsoring me. That's it. Thanks to my missus for putting up for me. Thanks, Hoob.
Yeah, folks, all those links will be down below, so check out the vid description. What's that?
This is her office. These are my teddies, sadly.
Thought that was Pez's bed. Thought that was
Pez's
boudoir.
bed, but this is where this is Pez's boudoir, but he wants to stay.
Yeah, folks, if you're watching the vid, check out the vid description. If you're listening to the podcast, again, check out the description. All the links for everything Mike's just chatted about will all be there. So make sure you give him a like, a follow, a subscribe, all that jazz. While we're on the topic, if you've enjoyed this one, please tell your mates about Bru Time. That works a treat at the moment. The algorithm loves a share, so make sure you share it with as many people as you can. Tell them all about it. Mike, been an absolute pleasure finally getting a chance to chat to you, pal. Really appreciate you giving me your evening and spending a few hours with us. Been an absolute pleasure.
It's been great crack.
Awesome. Right, folks, hope you've enjoyed this one. Keep doing your thing. Look after those that you love. Get on out there whenever you can. But most importantly, live
your life.
Life. Ah.